This is episode 232 of How About That Cigar, recorded live at the Corona Cigar Studio. On this episode, we talk to Nate Beck about Boveda and much more. Please take a minute to subscribe on your favorite podcast platform so you never miss an episode. Now on with the show.
Corona Cigar Company is your one-stop shop for all your cigar needs. Whether that's a brand new humidor, a box of those new cigars you've been waiting for, a top-of-the-line cutter or lighter, a place to enjoy the finest cigars and spirits with friends, or the only cigars grown right here in the Sunshine State, we've got you covered. Come visit one of our retail locations for the ultimate cigar experience. Visit us online at coronacigar.com.
How about that cigar?
Well, how about that cigar?
Woo! Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Corona Cigar Studios for episode 232 of How About That Cigar Live. Thank you so much for watching live on Facebook, live on YouTube, live on Twitter, live on Instagram. And if you're listening after the fact on the audio podcast, thank you so much for making How About That Cigar a part of your regular audio podcast rotation. We have a fantastic special guest sitting right between Raul and myself.
Hello there.
From Boveda.
Hello.
Nate Beck, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Hey, brother. How you doing?
Always a pleasure
Doing
being
well,
with you,
man.
brother.
Well, let's
And we got our famous, ultra famous producer,
Justy
Smokes.
I think the proper word today, Matt, is infamous.
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 Make sure you get it right.
Infamous.
Like the fruits of the devil.
Well, should we tell the audience what we were doing just before we came on?
We were watching, well,
I actually want to hear a demonstration.
A lot
for
of different
for the How
things.
About That Cigar viewers.
I
out
don't know
there.
if we can sing the song because we'll get a copyright
We will
strike.
get a copyright.
Yeah, we'll get a
Just won't nail
copyright
it.
strike. We were singing Creed
Nailing
songs,
it.
like full voice.
Nailing it.
Yeah.
We were singing "Can You Take Me Higher" by Creed, and it was
pretty good.
it was fantastic.
It was.
We nailed
I
it.
mean,
I mean, I
yeah.
did take you
Yeah,
guys
we nailed
pretty
it.
high.
Yeah,
So.
I mean, Nate was
Yeah.
throwing in
I was
harmonies.
just doing background voices like
backwash.
Yeah, backwash. These two guys, I don't know if you guys know, but these two chumleys over here got really good voices and they could really sing. And
Thanks, pal.
I used to have a good voice.
I just sound like a dead cat. But hey, I was trying to hang in there. But
Hey, Roll, I think you're feeling left out for the Battle of the Beard.
He was our cheer squad.
the battle of the
I told you, I'm only here for eye candy.
the battle of the beards. I think is. I mean, it's because you're wearing a black hoodie. Well, you're usually wearing a black
You
hoodie.
want to take some clothes off? Is that what you're
But I'm saying the lusciousness of your beard is getting hidden by the black.
There
the
it
black
is.
hoodie.
There
By
it
the
is.
blackness.
Look at that majestic
I mean, it's
mane.
just-
I think I just seen a bird come out.
Yeah.
Probably.
One of these days, somebody's going to braid it.
I'm waiting for that.
Yes.
I think
you want to put some
PCA.
beads in it too? Not anal beads, but you know.
Oh,
I haven't said that word
You're
in
about to.
months.
Well,
That is-
I just
see?
did for
In
you.
months, just for the record.
Hey, we're working.
And
on
you
it.
know what? I like when the microphone's right there. You can't
And it's
make double
correctly
check.
pronounced.
I lo-
Anal.
Anal beads.
Yes.
I love the fact that it's 4 minutes into the show and we're completely off the rails. I honestly, I
Wait,
do.
we're
I
having
love
a
it.
show right now?
Yeah, we're doing a
Oh,
show.
shit, we're
I mean,
live. We're live. Sorry,
we're
guys.
if you guys are watching us right now, join us in the comments. Let us know what you're smoking. Let us know what you're drinking. We're going to talk about cigars and we're going to talk about music and humidity control and
Something
And-
about Boveda. I mean, I
something
think you guys
about
have heard about them.
Boveda.
Maybe.
but also, being February, this is the first show of February 2024. It is Lancero February. Woo! So we are definitely falling in line with that. So
sorry, Roll.
Raul has
Let's get you. Let's make you big.
oh,
Come on, big boy.
Oh, there it is.
There we go. Now you're doing it.
Phineas
There we
Gage
go.
H99
Phineas
Lancero.
Gage. All right.
And what are you having?
I have the Herrera Esteli by Drew Estate, the Edición Limitada.
See that up on the big screen.
Nice.
Oh, there we go.
Mm.
Look at that beauty. And
And I have the Davidoff Millennium Lancero Maduro.
look at that.
Ooh.
Sexy.
And what about you, Justy?
I have the Drew Estate Tienda exclusive Connecticut broadleaf. So,
Excellent.
And why does your screen look so good today?
because I'm in 1080p today.
That's right. That's right. We got
That looks sharp.
we added on another nice camera in the studio, so Justin's got a
Outstanding.
real.
My mama said I
Real
was a
camera.
sharp guy. My mama might have lied, but
My mama said,
You so sharp, so sharp.
I connect, and first thing I hear is something about beads. What the hell?
oh boy, we're talking about my beard, the Viking beads. Oh my god.
Yeah, Mardi Gras beads. We're talking
Yeah.
Mardi Gras.
It's funny you
beads.
say Mardi Gras beads because my mom actually sent me and Katie a picture the other day, and she's like going to church, and she's got Mardi Gras beads on just because she's wearing them or whatever. And I'm like,
At church.
I think so.
Okay.
I'm like,
my
Mom,
mind
okay.
went somewhere
yeah,
else.
yeah, I know. I was like, Mom,
I dig
Do
it.
as you do.
You got to dig a church that's open-minded, man.
Right?
There you go. Yeah,
You know, it's all good.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
I bought these at Hobby Lobby.
I bought yes. I paid cash for these.
She probably actually did. She's in Oklahoma, but yeah, it was
Party beads.
funny. Yeah.
So episode 232, we have Nate in studio. It is just this crazy, lovely outdoor weather we've been having in Minnesota right now, which I mean, it's not going to last forever. I think we have another 5-6 days to look forward to this. Like,
Well, I mean, it only goes down to the 30s, maybe the 20s, so we're still good. In my
Yeah,
book
we're still
for-
good.
for
We're still
right
good.
now.
Evidently, this is the warmest Minnesota winter on record
ever.
ever.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
I
global
love it.
warming is not a thing at all, right?
I love it. I love it. It's El Nino.
Well, it's El Nino.
That's what they keep saying. Keep saying El Nino.
Hey, I'll keep
Makes
saying
sense.
it.
I
That's
mean,
my
it
homie.
makes
That's my
sense,
homie from
yeah.
the West Coast. El Nino.
All right. So real quick.
Yep.
A little bit of sports talk like we normally do. The Super Bowl is less than a week away. And we have San Francisco 49ers, Kansas City Chiefs.
Who do you got?
Nate, who do you got?
I think the Chiefs are going to pull it out.
Yeah. Yeah.
I want the Niners to win,
Why?
just because I'd like somebody other than the Chiefs to win.
Do you?
I don't.
Yeah.
I have several coworkers at Bovada that are big Chiefs fans. Shout out to my buddy Mike Stouse. So I would say I'm going to say the Chiefs are going to pull it out.
Yeah.
There's one reason.
Or is Taylor Swift going to pull it out?
Oh.
Oh,
Yikes.
There we go.
she's going to be in Europe.
Oh,
No,
She's
she'll,
gonna- to the game.
no, she'll be back.
She'll be back. Well,
She'll
she's
be
got a
back.
private jet to fly her
Yeah,
back.
she'll be back.
I want the 49ers win for one reason. Brock Purdy.
Brock Purdy. It's a great story,
It's
man.
a great story, and I want
Yeah.
him just to shut up about me.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm rooting for the 49ers, even though I love Patrick Mahomes, I love Travis Kelce, I love Andy Reid. I think it's a great
Yep.
team, and they've got a great story because they have really been pretty dominant for the last 5-6 years.
Mhm.
But this whole Brock Purdy story, I think, is a great story. I'd
Mhm.
love to see that. I'd love to see that happen.
That's
And-
what I'd
Yeah.
like to see win. Yeah.
And McCaffrey too. I like the guy. He's
Yeah.
a great all around guy.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's a workhorse. I'd like to see him get one.
Yep.
Like basically has been all season. The Minnesota Wild report is really short.
Didn't they get
They-
rid of their head coach or something?
They
today?
suck. Oh
They
no,
fired him again.
Oh,
they just
I
fired
think
him.
that's, didn't they fire somebody?
they fired the new.
I thought so.
Yeah, I
Like
don't-
the,
Didn't they fire
the
one halfway
fill-in
through
coach,
the
they
season?
fired him too.
maybe.
Oh my gosh.
I
They
haven't.
fired somebody today. I don't remember who, but
Okay, I haven't.
could be wrong. Don't listen to me. I don't know anything about sports.
No, that's all right. But yeah, they're
hello
just
there.
terrible. Hi,
Hi.
sweetie. My wife's right over there. Yeah, we're live.
We're live.
Yeah, everybody can hear
There's
you.
not a camera on you or anything. It's
No,
okay.
No, they just hear your lovely voice.
And the Timberwolves, honestly, it's been a roller coaster. Like the last 3 weeks, they're in first place, then they're in second place, then they're in first place again, then they're in second. And as of a loss yesterday, they're in second place right now.
They
The Wild
look,
or the Wolves are.
Wolves.
Ah,
They look tired.
They look exhausted. I agree.
They look tired.
I agree. And but I think it's okay for them to be tired right now. You know, it's early February. I think by the time playoffs and all that comes around. But here's the thing. Let's say the Wolves make it all the way through the playoffs and in the Western Conference. And who are they going to have to if they make it to the finals, who are they most likely going to have to face? The Celtics.
Yep.
And the Celtics are absolute powerhouse this year.
dominant, right?
Yep.
Dominant like crazy. And in the 10 times that the Wolves and the Celtics have met in the regular season, the Celtics have won 8
Oy.
by a lot. I
Oy.
mean, super high scoring game.
Oof.
We're just trying to lull them asleep.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yep.
We'll see.
So,
Before I fire up my cigar,
Let's talk about the beverages you have in front of you.
let's do that very thing. So Raul, tell us a little bit about what this month is going to be.
This is a Scotch this month is going to be Scotch month. We had a friend of ours who donated actually 5 small samples of Scotch. 2 of them we lost the paperwork on, so we don't know what they are. So I replaced it with this Scotch you're drinking right now, and it is a Scotch.
It smells lovely.
I mean, you know, what does Ron Burgundy say? I love Scotch.
Scotchy.
Scotch.
And I
Down
can tell
into
you
my
one
belly.
thing about it is
From Scotland?
I won't look.
it is naturally matured in oak cast, and it
Oak
is
cast.
about $200 a bottle.
Ooh. And before you fire up the cigar, we
Very
gotta
nice.
give a shout out to our sponsors, Drew Estate, too.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we'll get there. This is a nice Scotch. It's
Oh, we were right. It's super citrusy.
yeah, it's got a lot of citrus fruits.
Oh, a little
Uh,
bit of heat to it, but it's got some nice legs on it.
I don't think it's super high proof. I think it's
Mm-mm.
somewhere right in the 90-ish range.
That would be my guess. Yeah. If not even maybe like a couple points lower.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
The texture on the tongue is a little thin. I mean, it's not. I tend to be a texture guy. I
Yeah,
like
you are.
Mm-hmm.
ones that are almost syrupy, but this one it's not.
Well, his looks like it got a
It's
little
not
legs on
boring.
it.
There's a lot of. Well, it's sometimes in the glass and on the tongue is different,
Okay.
but it's got really nice flavor and aroma.
Always have to remind myself when I'm sniffing it to keep my mouth
Yeah.
slightly open.
Yeah, this is good Scotch.
It's really good.
$200 a bottle.
Yeah.
Okay.
For my private reserves. This is.
I'll throw a stab out there for a name in a second.
Yeah.
By the way, I just got a text for the guy that came in to work for me, so I can come do the show. They just got first alarm fire.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
I'm not.
I know you're not, but
Oh,
What do you think
citrus,
it is?
almost like an oranginess,
yeah,
vanilla.
yeah. You know, oak. I definitely
For
get
sure,
that
oak.
charred, charred oak. A little bit of funk, like grassiness, but hardly any at all. Just like the tiniest little bit of peatiness. But
Like if it was peaty without actually being peaty.
yeah, which I prefer. You know, I told you this too,
Yeah.
Raul. The peaty scotches like Lagavulins, I tend to not really like a
Mm.
whole lot, but it depends on which Lagavulin.
And I'm the
Um,
opposite. I drink
You like the
copious
really?
amounts of Lefroy.
Oh, okay.
Oh, it's
okay.
my favorite. In fact, I turned 50 on the 24th of January, so like almost 2 weeks ago. Had a $50 gift card to Total Wine, so I'm like, I'm gonna go splurge and get myself something nice. Bought a
Okay.
bottle of Lefroy 10, which is like $54. Brought it home. Had no idea that the next day, on my birthday, my wife walks in with the card, a bottle of Lefroy quarter cask. So I was like, oh my goodness, this is amazing. She goes, I couldn't believe it when you walked in with this bottle. I'm like, I'm so sorry. At least I get like a step up, and now I
Hey.
have 2 bottles.
There you go.
Because I generally, especially with Lefroy, when I buy a bottle of Lefroy, 750 is a little over 25 ounces.
Yeah.
That's 5 glasses for me.
Wow.
I pour a nice 5 ounces.
Well,
okay.
I'm good to go.
You
Okay.
notice his sip compared to your sip? He ain't messing around.
It's delicious.
I try to make the glass last throughout the whole show.
I'll nurse this.
But if
yeah.
if that runs dry, I mean, just look behind you. There's plenty more.
What?
There's plenty more to choose from.
Yeah, we got some stuff.
Mhm.
But let's give a shout out to our main segment sponsor, and that would be our friends at Drew Estate. And the latest Freestyle Live event packs are here. I'm going to move this ad read over here so I can actually see it. Each pack has an MSRP of only $40 and contains 3 mystery premium cigars, a sleek Freestyle Live torch lighter, a cigar cutter, and a Freestyle Live leather strap keychain. In addition to these premium items, each pack includes a Freestyle Live badge equipped with a unique QR code that allows purchasers to enter a sweepstakes for a chance to win extraordinary prizes. The grand prize is a luxury custom pool table valued at $11,500, a laptop valued at $4,600, plus 10 lucky entrants will win a custom Subculture Studios ashtray valued at $150 each. The big reveal of the Freestyle Live Mystery Cigar will be a live event on March 14th. For more information, please visit drewestate.com.
And we are all smoking Drew Estates except for
Except for
some
me.
fancy boy,
Except for me.
fancy pants.
The Avidoff estate.
Diavidoff.
Mhm.
It's their French.
Yes,
D-
yes,
D-
exactly.
Diavidoff with the apostrophe
Yeah, correct.
in there.
Yeah.
And actually kind of going from one into the next since and we're not going to bring Saka Squatch up on the table. We have a crowded studio today. So Saka Squatch, trust me, he's back there. But I'm going to get my cigar fired up on the Dunbarton Tobacco and Trust Toast Cam.
Oh.
When lighting your cigar, it's important to be patient, pay close attention to detail, and focus on the tobacco. In the same way, Steve Saka brings those same qualities to the ultra premium cigars of Dunbarton Tobacco and Trust. Patience, close attention, and focus on the tobacco are the qualities that Saka and Dunbarton Tobacco and Trust have become known for. From Sober Mesa to Umbagog, Dunbarton has a blend that will fit your palate, your mood, and any occasion. Visit DunbartonCigars.com to learn more.
Look at that
There we go.
concentration.
Oh,
You got to focus. You got to
Focus, focus.
like it says. You got to
It's like-
focus on the tobacco.
it's like you've been to the big game before.
So, who are you? Tell us a little something about yourself
Who is this Nate Beck
Who
we've all
is-
come to love and
and appreciate.
appreciate?
Who is Nate Beck?
With this glorious Santa beard.
Besides having a wonderful, is it baritone voice? What would you call
Technically baritone.
baritone?
Yeah, like right in between. tenor and
Baritone's the only
baritone.
one I know. So
Yeah.
that was close.
Eric V says the Ron Papel of the cigar industry.
That's awesome.
It slices, it dices, it julienne fries.
Yes. All for the low, low price of $99.95. So I work for the company that everybody knows and loves,
Yeah.
Boveda.
Move it up.
We exist to make all of these delicious cigars smoke and taste at their absolute maximum. And I technically am the sales rep for the whole Western US on our tobacco team for Boveda.
Okay, you answered who you work for.
Yeah.
Who are you?
Who am I?
Yeah.
So
Let's
I
get a little
am
backstory
Sure.
on who you are, and then we'll go into your.
been married to my
Wonderful
wife
customer.
for almost 27 years.
Congratulations.
I have 5 daughters, ages 24, 21, 19, and 17-year-old twins. I am by profession a singer. My career goal was to go into Broadway musical theater. Decided after doing a couple professional shows that was honestly not the life that I wanted to have. So I've kind of done a lot of different stuff. For about 10 years, actually right about 10 years, I owned and operated my own artisan hot dog cart called Nate Dogs.
Nate Dog?
Nate Dogs.
Into his house.
One of my claims to fame is that I was voted the best hot dog cart in all of North America in 2017. So it's been I've done a lot of different stuff. I'm a big fan of well-made shoes, clothing. Love cigars, as you
Mhm.
guys both know. I love good whiskey. I like spending time with my family, going shopping, camping, things of that nature. In fact, I'm going to be going camping with a couple of buddies. A lot of you may know my good pal Rob Gagne
Yeah.
Yes, we do. Love
from
him
the
too.
Boveda podcast, the Box Press podcast. Rob and I and another good buddy Rick from Tobacco Grove. Shout out to Rick. We'll be going up winter camping on the North Shore of Lake Superior.
Well, that's awesome.
It's going to be more like fall camping
Yeah.
at this rate.
Yeah.
There's probably not going to be any snow up there, but we are going to rent a portable sauna and truck ourselves down to the either the lake or the river that runs into it, do a little cold bath, and then get back in the sauna.
Nice.
So we like to have a good time.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Now tell us who you work for, the legendary company.
The legendary.
Boveda.
And the oft mispronounced
Move it up.
We hear
Boveda, Boveda.
Boveda, Boveda.
So what's the correct way to say it?
The correct pronunciation is Boveda. So if you hear a Spanish speaker pronounce it, it's going to largely be Boveda,
Yeah.
Over the-
almost like the V is another B.
A B. Yeah.
And it is Spanish for vault.
Hmm.
The great part of the history of that name for our company are two of our founders, Sean and Tim, who own the company. We're looking through books on art and architecture and things to try to find an interesting name for our company, because we were originally called Humidipack. Actually, technically one more name before that, but mostly Humidipack, and then we became Boveda. So Sean and Tim were calling it Boveda. And while they were down in the DR meeting with Carlito Fuente, they were calling it Boveda. And he goes, guys, what the hell are you doing? It is not Boveda, it is Boveda. Carlito Fuente had to educate Tim and Sean
Oh yeah.
on how to correctly pronounce the name of their own company.
I love it.
And in point of fact, if you were to go down and tour Carlito's factories, aging rooms, and what have you, his aging rooms are called Bovedas, and he has 13 of them because I guess he's a big fan of the
Oh, yeah.
13.
Yeah.
So he has 13 Bovedas as vaults where he ages his cigars.
Oh,
And this is just one. This is a small example of the Boveda two-way humidity control pack.
Yeah, we make lots of different sizes of these packs, and literally what's inside these packs are 3 ingredients: reverse osmosis purified water, particular salt to give you different humidity percentages, because different salts when mixed with water give different relative humidities, and then a little bit of a food grade thickener to keep that salt in suspension. And we make various sizes for cigars and various humidities depending on your storage unit, depending on the ambient conditions where you live and whatnot. We also make even more sizes for our cannabis percentages. So cannabis is stored a little bit lower, but we make various sizes for that product as well. And then we also make them for musical instruments
Mhm.
and a few other, odds and ends here and there.
Yeah. And this one
Yeah.
is starting to get you can just start to feel like some grains
Some
in
crystals.
there.
Yep.
And but it's still pliable.
Yep.
And you can still, when you squeeze it a little, you can feel some of that distilled water moving around in there. So I would say this pack has about, and I use this in my small 5-count travel humidor.
Yeah. You're probably halfway there.
So I'd say that's probably got another month and a half.
In your travel humidor?
Yeah.
I would think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what'll happen is it'll generally crystallize around the outside edge, like a cracker.
Yeah.
And I always tell shops to tell their customers, you want to replace your Boveda when it starts to get hard around the edge and it feels like there's a tiny bit of pudding left in the middle as opposed to liquid water.
Yeah.
And it feels more like that in these smaller packs because there's just less surface
right.
area.
Yeah.
The bigger the pack, the longer that takes to happen.
Yeah.
And this size pack, this is our size 8. All of our sizes are literally the weight in grams of the amount of fluid inside each pack.
Okay.
So this has 8 grams of solution in it. The most common size people use is, I call it the Pop-Tart size, but it's like a small postcard.
The 60.
That's our size 60.
Yeah.
The 8 gram is for anywhere from 5 to 10 cigars, but typically in that 5 to 7 wheelhouse.
Yeah.
The size 60 will humidify up to 25 cigars that a humidor can hold. And that's one of the things that a lot of people get tripped up on is they will buy 1 pack for 25 cigars in a 50-count humidor.
Right.
The problem is you also have to humidify all of that empty space around it. And that's where customers will find that their packs wear out more quickly is they're not using enough packs. Rule of thumb is you can't ever have too many Boveda packs in your storage unit as long as they're all the same RH percentage. So as long as they're all 69 or 72, you can put 30 of them in there and they're just going to work more efficiently and last longer.
Yeah.
And that's usually what trips people up. So like if you have a wood humidor that's a 50 count, I tell people put as many 60-gram packs in there as will cover the bottom in an even layer without overlapping, and you're good to go.
Okay.
Yeah.
well, I have a question about, and it's a question I bet you've heard a million times. Can you reuse them?
In one direction, yes. In the other direction, no. So if you live in a place like Florida or the DR, someplace that is high humidity,
Yeah.
super damp and moist. Oh, I said moist.
Moist.
Those packs will balloon up until they can't take in any more liquid.
Yeah.
You can take those packs, and I'm not sure the best way for a home user to do this, but you can dry them down to that 60-gram weight and do that over and over and over again. and the pack will keep working because that salt remains in solution.
Yeah.
However, when you go the other way and that pack dries out, can you put these and just drop them in distilled water or put them in a container with distilled water? Will they rehydrate? They will balloon back up.
Mhm.
The problem is that in order for this pack to operate at the humidity marked on the pack, all of that salt has to be dissolved in that solution.
Right.
And when that salt is all crystallized and you get water in there, there is no physical way to dissolve manually all that salt
Right.
back into that solution. So now the problem is, one, your pack is going to run out very quickly because it's basically at like anywhere from 90 to 100% humidity.
Yeah.
Now you're putting that high humidity pack in with your cigars. It's giving off that moisture super fast because those cigars are nowhere near 90%.
Yeah.
Now your cigars run the risk of mold, and then you have to redo that with your pack over and over again, all to save, basically $4 or $5.
Exactly.
Just buy another pack.
Yeah. Yeah. I had my experience back in the day trying to recharge these, and I don't anymore. I had it. They work so much better when, and honestly, there's so many brick and mortar shops that carry these things,
Yeah.
and it's almost like you go to your local brick and mortar shop. You talk to your tobacconist, your friends, walk through the humidor, pick out the stuff you're going to buy that day or that week. And right by the registers, just grab another Boveda.
Yep.
They're right
Yep.
there, $4, and depending on what part of the country you're in, anywhere from $3.50 to $6.
And they're always going to be at the lowest price from one of our retailers.
Yeah.
Because we purposely price our products on our own website significantly higher
Mhm.
so that customers will go and visit their local brick and mortar.
Oh, that's awesome.
So go support your local shop, buy them from them.
Yeah.
Pick up some more sticks while you're there. That's the whole purpose of Boveda. Keep your cigars well humidified. There's a good question there.
From Zane.
Yeah. What percent humidity do you recommend for an airtight small/medium Tupperware located in Minnesota? So the nice thing about an airtight container is it really doesn't matter where you live because it's airtight. Doesn't matter if it's 10% humidity. If you do live, one, I would recommend either 69% or 65%, depending on how you like your cigars. I recommend never going over 69% in an airtight container because when you go up to 72%, being that it's airtight, it's going to really keep those cigars about 70, 71%.
Yeah.
I think that causes some combustion issues on the cigar. I think that extra moisture
I
gives
agree.
kind of a sour flavor, a little different than what you get when you get a really dry
Right.
cigar. I like 65% because I like my cigars a little bit drier.
So
You
do
can
I.
find your preference 65 or 69. Where it comes in handy storing your cigars at that lower humidity, especially in an airtight container like a Rubbermaid or a cooler of sorts or a 1-year Boveda bag. When you take that cigar outside into that low humidity, your cigar is now 8 to 10 points closer
Yeah.
to the relative humidity outside. If you take that 70 to 72% cigar outside in the same conditions, what happens as you light that cigar and you warm up that filler and binder inside that cigar, all that moisture is going to start to expand and want to escape.
Yeah.
And that filler and binder is going to press out on that wrapper and you're going to probably end up cracking that wrapper and
Oh, yeah.
blowing it up somewhere down here. That's not going to happen nearly as often, if at all, on a slightly lower humidified cigar.
Yeah.
Now, wood humidors, then it's kind of all over the map depending on the quality of your humidor, how much you spent for it, how big it is, how full you have it. But hopefully that answers your question.
And then
No, go ahead,
I was
Justin.
going to say the second part to that is,
Yeah.
I mean, you have the humidity, right? And I dabble in a lot of things with humidity and all that stuff. So to me, watching the temperature is also another thing. Where
Sure.
you store your cigars at. Personally, I keep it 65 to 70 degrees. In my bins, I throw 69s in there for long-term storage.
Yep.
And anything I'm going to smoke, I put in my newer at like 65s, and that's my everyday smokes or whatever.
Sure.
I find that's for long-term storage. You're keeping all those oils in there, keeps it all, fresh and married together. But I think that temperature is the other big piece of that is 65 to 70. Would you say that's a good temperature range? Because
I think so, yeah.
you could have that humidity up in the 70s as long as that temperature is lower from 65 to 70 degrees.
Yep.
You're not going to have to worry about that mold. If you do have the 69s in there and they do
Correct.
get up to 70, 72%,
Yep.
it's that temperature that's going to drive that
Yep.
mold once you get past 70 degrees or so. That
Right.
usually is where I find you have the mold issues.
And then another interesting
Tidbit.
tidbit, yes. Your hygrometer regardless of how much you spend for it,
Yep.
is going to be anywhere from 2 to 5% plus or minus.
Exactly.
Well calibrated. It also can read higher or lower depending on the open space around your cigars that it's reading, because your cigars are going to be at one relative humidity. That empty space is going to be at another relative humidity depending on temperature and pressure.
Okay.
The nice thing about a Boveda pack being so dialed in is that the temperature and pressure changes are less likely to affect your cigars than they would on another type of humidification system, because it reacts so quickly and that membrane is so fast to release or take in moisture that it's going to either release moisture or take it in to adjust that relative humidity and keep it at 69, 68%.
Yeah.
We actually had a food scientist write into Boveda just without prompting and say, hey, I just wanted you guys to know your packs are awesome. I tested every one of your humidities on I think it was a $40,000 or $50,000 hygrometer. And he said, and they are all like dead on the nuts.
Wow.
So
That's fantastic.
it's just right there. Really, the thing you really want to steer clear of is getting up into, especially full sun exposure, like in the back seat of your car.
Oh,
Or
bad
really
news.
high temperatures, because much like a bag of hamburger or hot dog buns,
yeah.
that moisture is going to want to push out as
Mhm.
that temperature goes way up, and it's going to take a lot longer to get that moisture either back into the pack or back
Yeah.
into the cigars. Cooler temperatures have a much easier time. You just want to, before you're going to smoke it, kind of acclimate it and warm it back up again.
Yeah.
Maybe put it in a dry box or something like that
Exactly.
before you're going to smoke it.
Yeah, and
Let it sit out and acclimate to the humidity where you're going to smoke it at.
I've met several cigar shop managers where their customers are now aging at 65 or 62%, like really low humidity, to get that super slow fermentation.
I do
And then they'll
62.
stage it up
Hmm.
to their ending humidity in like Boveda bags or Tupperwares until they want to smoke it.
Yeah.
So you can kind of do a lot of different things based on your preference.
Yeah. My main is, and I know it's 3 points, from a percentage standpoint, but 65% for everyday smoking.
Yep.
And 62% for long-term aging. That's what I do.
Mhm.
Now, I used to be really stupid about it, and maybe not stupid, but I went way too far with it, because we have in Minnesota, we have broad swings in temperature and relative humidity.
Yep.
So I used to, in the summer months when it was more naturally humid and hotter, I would put 62s in everything. And then when it got cold in late November, early December, I took out all the 62s and I put in 69s,
Sure.
because way lower relative humidity. I mean, it gets dry as all get out here in the winter. Typically, this winter's an anomaly, but and after a few years of doing that, I was like, first of all, it's just too much work, and the smoking experience wasn't really. It wasn't enough to make it worth. So then I just simplified it and I said 62 for long-term aging and 65 for everyday smokes. That
Yep.
works for me.
Me too. Yep.
But then, you get most of the, the smaller packs that you get from, let's say you buy cigars from a retailer, they'll put them in the zip
Yep.
top bag and they'll throw one of these in there.
Yep.
They're for the most part, they're 69%. packs.
Almost always.
Yeah. And
It's a
but
good
that's
middle
fine, because for, the trip from the brick and mortar shop back to your house,
Correct.
or if it's going to be, if you're going to take them over to a buddy's house and you're going to sit around and smoke for a while, and then those last 3 cigars, you want them to make it home, and it's not like cigars can't survive being in a non-controlled environment for more than 24 hours,
Mhm.
but the more you can keep them controlled,
Yes.
the better off they're going to be long-term.
Correct. And Eric V there puts up a great point. You can never use too many packs as long as your storage container can hold them. Once those packs, if they're all 69 or they're all 72 or they're all 65, once they reach equilibrium in that container, they're just going to stop working. They can't push out any more moisture because there's no more room. The pressure is keeping it in.
Yeah.
So like how many of these, Matt, how many of this size do you put in your travel box?
Just one.
Just one. Okay. So what I recommend to people is, how many cigars does your travel case hold?
Well, so this size I only use in my 5 count
Oh, perfect.
travel humidor. In my 15 count or my 40 count travel humidor. In my 15 count, I use 160,
Perfect.
and in my 40 count, I use 260.
Yeah. So the kind of the rules of thumb for how many cigars you can store with each size in our lineup, you can really do like kind of several factors more. You can store more cigars in airtight containers than you would in like in a wood humidor or a traditional humidor.
Right.
So I always say if you can fit a bigger size, do that. Or if you want to get a little more life, like on your, in your case where it's not that much space, put 2 of these in there.
Yeah.
Because then you're just going to have a little bit longer life. We make 3 sizes of what we call our 1-year humidor bags. And the small has 1 of these packs in a poly bag that is as airtight as a Tupperware or a Rubbermaid.
Yeah.
And this pack in that bag is guaranteed to last for a full year.
Yeah.
But you've got not much space. It's filled with cigars. It's going to last a long time. I said earlier, the rule of thumb for like our medium size pack, the size 60 is 1 for every 25 cigars your humidor can hold.
Yeah.
If you have an airtight container, that can do well upwards of 100 cigars.
Yeah.
Well, I my whole collection's in Rubbermates,
Right.
and the Rubbermates are in a cooler, so I don't have to worry about the temperature, and it's in
Yeah.
the basement. So I have one of those packs for about 30 cigars.
Yeah.
Because it's so airtight now.
Mhm.
And I have a couple cigars, and it's
Yeah.
Yeah. A couple.
Well,
and it goes really well.
I
does
think
very well.
the biggest cigar subscription service in the country stores all of their cigars in those large white Costco body parts coolers, as I call them.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they can hold anywhere from, I think they said 2 to 3,000 cigars. They will put 2 of our biggest packs, which are 320 grams. They come in a cardboard perforated sleeve.
Yeah.
They'll put 2 of those at 69% in each cooler, shut the lid. And because they're so airtight, the whole
Yeah.
thing is good.
Oh, absolutely.
And there's no space, so
Yeah.
there's not much air to humidify, so it's just the cigars, and that
Yeah.
works great.
Mm.
So like that 320 gram pack could do sometimes 200 to 500 cigars, depending
Yeah.
on how airtight your container is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and it's cool because, people watching this or listening to this, we're going to have people from all different areas of the world, people who live in warmer climates, colder climates, places where it's humid all year round, or places like Minnesota where it's only humid for about 3 or 4 months a year.
Sure.
And one of the things I learned recently, and this was through some other science related stuff I was just sort of interested in. It has nothing, at least what I learned wasn't supposed to be anything about cigars, but I started, of course, when I watch anything, a science show on YouTube or something like that, I think in terms of, maybe how could this benefit the way I store my cigars or keep my cigars or whatever. But and it makes sense when we're talking about these Boveda packs, because, and what Justin brought up about temperature, not just relative humidity, is that when the temperature is higher than regardless of how much relative humidity is in the air, when the temperature is higher, those tiny water droplets in the air move slower.
Mm-hmm.
When it's cold, they move faster.
Mm-hmm.
And that I don't know exactly how that could make a difference for how we store cigars, but I'm also like you guys that my humidor is downstairs. Humidor and cool. Now I started adding on storage, but humidor and some coolers and some other stuff, some actual Boveda 1-year bags.
Sure.
I store some cigars in those still
Yeah.
because I haven't upgraded any new storage yet, as far as like permanent, quote
And they
unquote.
store incredibly well.
Yeah, they do.
Yep.
They're great. So, but it's in my basement. We're in Minnesota. I generally heat that space, but not like I would heat my living room. So it's probably between 62 and 65 degrees there. And that's honestly all year round, because even in the summer, the air conditioning's running and a lot of that air conditioning flows down to the basement.
Sure.
And it's cool down there
55, 60,
all the time.
All the time.
And the only times that I've had issues with that is when I rush and I take cigars from there straight to, some warm, maybe outdoor cigar event, and boy, they're just soggy
Mhm.
almost,
Yeah.
because not only were they were already properly humidified, but then as soon as they get to that Minnesota July
Mhm.
outdoor where it's 85% relative humidity, that cigar wants to take in naturally. The tobacco leaves just want to take in the vapor that's in the air.
Yeah.
So they get soggy. So I learned that like you said, you
Yeah.
have to acclimate slowly that temperature.
Yep.
Because if you go straight from 65 degrees outside to 95 degrees and 85% humidity, not good.
Not
Same-
going to happen. Yeah.
The same thing is the opposite in the wintertime. When we're in the house and we go maybe out to the garage, which is a little colder, you got to let them sit out there for a while, let them get acclimated to the
Yes.
cold too.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep. And if I'm not mistaken, cold air holds more moisture than warm air,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. It just moves slower.
It moves slower. Yeah.
Or
Yep.
sorry, it moves faster.
Yep.
The warm air moves faster, but
Yep.
yeah, colder temperatures, there can be like more colder temperatures, although it sounds weird, but colder temperatures can have a higher average relative humidity than hotter temperatures.
Yep. It's
And-
super interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think, to finish on Eric's point, just make sure that whatever humidity you like to use, just add more packs of that humidity. The trouble happens when you mix, let's say 69 and 72 or 69 and 65. Literally, those two packs are going to fight each other.
I learned that the hard way.
Yeah.
You yelled at me for that once.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
and we don't want your cigars to get jacked up. And what happens is the two packs are trying to compete with each other. One's trying to make it drier, the other one's trying to make it more humid, and they end up giving off all their moisture to each other, and it doesn't go into your cigars.
Yeah.
It's the same reason why you would season a humidor with Boveda's 84% packs.
Mm-hmm.
Are there other ways that can work to humidify a humidor? Sure. The best
Mhm.
way, apart from a Boveda, would be to prop it open, put it in.
What is
Hear
that?
that? I don't know.
I do.
That's his
I thought it
feet.
was just
It's his
tapping.
feet.
I'm not moving my feet.
Oh.
I haven't been tapping at all.
Oh, go ahead.
No. I do hear it though.
Yeah. Something's rocking on the table somewhere.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't
Anyways, carry on. 84%
Yeah, so-
calibration or no, the
Yeah,
seasoning
right.
kits.
So the other way to season a humidor, and some shops do this, but it takes a lot longer, is they will put your humidor when you buy a new one, propped open in their humidor and
Yeah.
leave it for a couple months.
Yeah.
And they say you have to just leave this here. What our 84% packs do is you drop them in a humidor, again, one pack for every 25 cigars that it can hold. Close the lid with no cigars, and you leave it there for 2 weeks. And what we found is that going less than 2 weeks, there was often a little more moisture you could put into
There it
that
is
wood.
right there.
Oh, it's you.
It's just our.
It's you.
No.
It's that mic.
Oh.
No, it's Raul's.
It's on
Okay.
us.
It's our
being on
mics.
here. It should just be us being on the table.
I think
Yeah.
this piece that connects it is loose. Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh.
Anyway,
Hey,
At any rate,
Reason number 327 that we need to upgrade
Yeah,
microphones.
right?
Yeah.
all of that to say, the reason why we suggest that 2 full weeks is it gets those wood walls fully saturated,
Yeah.
so that you're not competing with the wood of the humidor to
Yeah.
keep your cigars humidified.
Okay. Well, and one thing I'm curious about what you guys think of this, because honestly, for me, it's sort of a pet peeve. When I go into a brick and mortar cigar shop, and especially a brick and mortar cigar shop where the smoking lounge area and their point of sale is all one space. Like,
Mhm.
for example, Sodi's in Oak Park Heights, their point of sale area and where they have things like pipes and pipe tobacco and humidors and accessories and that, people don't smoke cigars in that area.
Mhm.
But then there are other shops who shall remain nameless where people smoke in the same areas where they have on display all their cutters, lighters, humidors, and whatnot. I personally would never buy a wood desktop humidor from a place that stores them in the smoke-filled room.
Sure,
I would never do, because
sure.
I'm sorry, but that Spanish cedar inside that wood humidor is going to take in all those
Makes sense.
cigar smoke aromas.
Mhm.
I would not buy from a place where it's all kept in one big space, because
If there were
I'm-
actually space for it, I think it'd be a much better idea for a cigar shop to store all their wood humidors on sale in the humidor,
I agree.
because most shops do not allow you to smoke in the humidor.
Right.
That's kind of a general rule.
You know,
And then you would have you could take that humidor home and essentially have it be ready to go,
Yeah.
because they could be open and displayed. They're fully humidified. You just close the lid, wipe it down, put it in its box, and away you go.
well, as beautiful as some wooden humidors are, I just can't see going back to them after using Tupperwares and coolers.
I mean, I agree with you. The only way I would is, if I ever become a Bond villain, then I'm going to have one on my desk. But, fingers crossed that day is going to come, but so far no calls,
And
I would have it as a dry box, maybe.
sure. And
yes.
if you have a good wood humidor that has proper airflow, that still at the end of the day is one of the best ways to long-term age your cigars,
Right.
because you get that airflow coming in and out, staying at a precise relative humidity. You get that air exchange, much like a cork when it's stored properly. Now, can it go wrong? Sure, but that's kind of the fun in the aging.
Yeah.
When you have it stored like that, you do get a little bit of that cedar. You do have that air exchange that does really do some unique things
Yeah.
to a cigar or to a bottle of wine that you don't get. Like, you're not really going to long-term age a screw cap bottle of wine,
Yeah.
because there's no air exchange. Once that goes in, it's like a bottle of whiskey. Once it's in that bottle, it is done. Like, that's how that whiskey is going to be forever,
Yeah.
barring any leaking out the top.
I was going to say one thing that I do is inside my bins, I have cedar trays.
Yep.
Yeah.
I have 8 of them fit
Yeah,
in those bins.
yeah.
So I have that there with my 8 trays, and each one of my bins has cedar trays
Yeah.
in it. So that's one way that I, personally use a cedar still inside of a bin.
That works awesome. And then
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
can essentially burp them,
Yep.
a couple
Exactly.
times a year,
Yep.
let some fresh air in, close it down, and you
Yeah.
achieve that same thing.
What I do
Yeah.
is most boxes come with a little square cedar to fill up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I use that, and the ones that I really want to age,
Yeah.
Tupperware.
I used to do that. And I probably once I start buying more coolers soon, I'm probably going to do that again, because, and I agree with you guys that once you if you get a brand new cooler that you're going to use for cigar storage, I mean, obviously first thing you want to do is clean it out really well with an unscented
Hydrogen peroxide.
detergent or hydrogen peroxide. Just get all that
Kill
plasticky smell out of there.
Mhm.
And maybe even do it a few times and then just let it sit open and air dry completely.
Yep.
But then, if you get yourself some Spanish cedar trays, which there are some cigar shops you can buy them from. You can get them
Amazon.
from Amazon,
Correct.
and they're
Quality
basically
Importers, I
made
think,
for
has 'em.
quality
Yep.
importers
Correct.
makes them.
Yep.
And they're basically made for storing cigars.
Yep.
They're sort of like the top. If you have a desktop humidor with a lift out top tray, it's basically that.
For sure.
And then you can put those in your plastic coolers, and it just when you open a plastic cooler that's full of cigars, you want to smell tobacco and cedar. You don't want to smell plastic.
And one cool thing, and I learned this in a lot of years of selling shoes. So, cedar shoe trees are
Yeah.
used to keep the shape of a shoe so it doesn't get all curved and creased. But even more than that, you put them in a shoe to absorb all that extra moisture from wearing them all day. And after enough time, a pair of cedar shoe trees will stop smelling of cedar.
Yeah.
So if you have a tray that is entirely made of cedar and not just veneer, you can take a really fine grit sandpaper, take your
Oh, yeah.
cigars off, take them out of the humidor, just give them a light sanding so you can smell it again,
Yeah.
wipe it with the dry microfiber to get any dust off, pop them back in, and that refreshes that cedar smell.
Yeah.
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 Now, you for sure don't want to do that with an average priced or a low cost wood humidor.
Yeah.
Please don't go sanding the humidor, because that's veneer. You're just going to sand right through it.
That veneer will
But if
very
we're
thin.
talking solid cedar, like
Yeah.
the chunks, if you will,
Yeah.
when they absorb moisture, you're going to lose some of that cedar smell.
Mm-hmm.
You can just give them a light sand, wipe them off, put them back in, and now
Yeah.
now you have that aroma that's refreshed. So
But-
it works kind of cool.
But definitely don't. And this may seem like sort of a noob thing, but I have seen some people make some mistakes with cigar storage when it comes to Spanish cedar versus red cedar.
hmm
Red cedar
Oh, yeah.
is a completely different species of wood, and that has a extremely pungent, acidic quality that if it gets into a cigar, you are not going to be happy at all.
Technically, Spanish cedar isn't actually a cedar.
It's a
right?
mahogany. It's
Yeah.
a varietal mahogany.
Yeah.
Yeah. And So if you want to sort of refresh the cedar, definitely do what Nate said with the sandpaper, but do not, because you can go to most home improvement shops or places where you buy the kits to sort of outfit the interior of your closet. You can buy cedar oil.
Mm-hmm.
Don't buy that for cigars.
Don't buy that.
That is red cedar oil,
Yep.
and you'll ruin cigars. And I know somebody who wiped down the inside of a wood humidor with cedar oil,
Oh no.
not knowing that they
Yeah.
and
Just
it was not good.
tanked the
But-
whole thing.
yeah.
Red cedar is perfect for putting your hunting stuff in.
Yes, it is.
Yep.
Yeah, keeps
They-
moths away.
They each have their uses, but
Yeah.
that's where you do have to have a little bit of knowledge to know what you're doing if you're going to be sitting on cigars for a long period of time.
So on another note, we were talking
Yeah.
about humidity and hygrometers and all that. And one thing that I found from Boveda that I recommend to people all the time in this industry and other industries out there that use Boveda products, when they're using their hygrometers, we all know that hygrometers are within 3 to 5%, if that, of accuracy, right?
Yes,
So you
yes.
want to get those as accurate as possible. Most
Correct.
of them these days have a calibration adjustment on it.
Yep.
So what I found for $7.99, I believe, is the Amazon or the Boveda calibration kit.
Yep.
That can do either, I believe, is it 75% or down to 32 or something? Or
Yeah,
35?
there's a 75 and a
2-point
32, so you can do
calibration kit.
2. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think
Yep.
that I stick with the 75 mainly, but I constantly, at least a couple times a year, I'm recalibrating my
Yep.
hygrometers just to make sure they're
Yep.
in check and they're all lining up, because sometimes those do go up. You could say
Yeah.
75, but you're actually at 70 and think you're off. So I mean, that's another good point. If you want to elaborate on that at all and how that works, it's probably similar to the packs, but I think that's a
It is.
tool that not everybody knows about.
Yeah, and
But-
it takes the guesswork out of having to because the nice thing with that kit is like, can you do it really with any of our other packs in a container? Yes.
Yes, but it's only gonna be within that 3 to whatever
Right.
percent,
Yeah.
right?
So
So
if-
get right on.
If you
Yeah.
dial it in, if you dial that hygrometer in at 75%
Mhm.
in that airtight bag, that is like putting it in a
for
Tupperware.
24 hours between 65 to 75 degrees. I believe.
Yes,
Yep.
exactly.
Yep.
That will dial your hygrometer. If it does not read 75% at the end,
You
you
move it up.
calibrate it
Yep.
or hit the buttons,
Yep.
whatever your hygrometer does
Yep.
to read 75%. And now your hygrometer is calibrated.
Right.
And
Yep.
you can use that as many times as you need to, right?
Basically,
Until
yeah.
the pack dries out. At
Yes.
least
Yeah,
6
just like a
months, I
regular
think, is
Boveda.
what it usually has
That's
on
what
there,
we
but I
say.
found
Yep.
that they do last a little longer. If
Yeah,
you
just
kept
keep
it
it
in
airtight.
that Ziploc or
Yep.
whatever, you can use
Yep.
them a couple times.
It's a great tool.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and knowing, like I mentioned, that food scientist,
Yeah.
in order to get a hygrometer that is deadly accurate, you are in the tens of thousands of
Oh.
dollars.
Yeah.
right.
So you just have to know that, if you have, let's say, 65% packs and suddenly your hygrometer is reading 70%, one, that air is changing in there. That might be fluctuating. That can read
Mhm.
70%, but
But
your
first-
cigars are
but-
still
yeah.
holding lower than that.
Yeah.
2 days later, it could go back down to 67, 68, 65, depending on how
Yeah.
far that humidor fluctuates
Right.
or that
so,
hygrometer.
I mean, if you do see that, that's another thing. You can use that just to double check before you start messing with it.
Correct.
Recalibrate because hygrometers are finicky. They go off all the time. It could
Absolutely.
be fine one day and the next day completely different. So,
Yep,
I mean, pro tip of the day: make sure you're always testing those hygrometers. when you're out
Absolutely.
there.
Yeah.
Also, they also have a machine. I forgot the name of it. You can stick in the end.
Yeah,
of your cigar.
humidimeter.
the humidimeter by
Humidimeter?
Cigar
Yep,
Medics.
I have one of those.
Oh yeah, cigar
And
medics.
And I
yeah.
won't even smoke a cigar sometimes. Like I'll bust that out, and if it doesn't read like 65, if it's in the 70s, forget it. I'm not smoking it.
Yeah.
If it's below 60, I'm not. But 60 to 65 is usually that range.
It's perfect.
That's what I use with that humidimeter.
And-
I do that every single time, usually at home.
And a good
Every
thing
time.
to do is, and you have two options with that humidimeter. They have their original version, which is kind of about that. It's like a couple
Mhm.
9-volt batteries, and then
Yeah.
they have a super thin one where the prongs just slide out.
Oh,
And it's
okay.
fully metal. It's a little more expensive, but it's a little bit slimmer. When you test your cigar, test both the foot and the head of the cigar, because what you'll find is, like, I like a cigar when I test it on the foot to be about 63%.
Yep.
If I go test the head, it can sometimes be 69%.
Because it's more dense.
Well, it's more dense, and that moisture goes in and stops
Yeah.
at the cap,
The cap stops it.
Yep.
Yeah.
and it sort of pools there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you really want to get another tip, if you want to get a cigar humidified faster, if it's been too dry,
Hmm.
cut the cap, like you would to smoke it,
Yeah.
put it in your humidor without the cellophane, and that's going to rehumidify much, much faster
Okay.
than if you don't cut that cap, because now you have air moving evenly through all the way.
Yeah. There's a one of the things that we hear from time to time, especially if we've been into cigars for super long, maybe we've had this experience where a friend or a relative will say, "Oh, my uncle had this box in the top shelf of his closet for like 30 years."
Was,
And
was there Boveda in it?
and you realize that they had these cigars stored basically in room air
Mhm.
for decades.
Oof.
What are your sort of and I'm saying Boveda most likely doesn't have like official recommendations for something like that, but what would you recommend if somebody found their uncle gave him a box of cigars that was in the top shelf of his closet for 25 years?
How do I bring them back? Is that possible? Or are they just gone?
Yeah.
You can rehumidify them.
Right.
2, they are going to have lost nearly all of their flavor.
Yeah.
So they're going to be pretty flat. Because the oils and sugars resident in these aged fermented tobacco leaves, when you ignite them, those oils and sugars are what attach to the smoke
Yeah.
as you draw it through the cigar, and that's what brings the flavor to your mouth.
Yeah.
Nearly all of those oils and sugars will have evaporated by that point.
Mm,
So if I got a box like that, what I would do is I would keep maybe 5 of them, and I would put them in a Boveda 1-year humidor bag, and I would close that lid and I would leave it there for a minimum of 6 months.
Yeah.
Then I would take one out and I would test with that humidimeter and see where they're at. And if they're, in the low 60s, I'd try one. Then I'd leave the rest of them for another couple months just to see what they taste like. Because like the fact that grandpa or whoever hung on to them that long, I just want to just have some sentimentality and smoke them.
It's the experience.
There's not going to be much there, but
Yeah.
it would be fun to just bring them back and see what is there.
Yeah.
Now, are you going to bring them back and are they going to taste anything like they did when they were new? Absolutely not.
Yeah.
It's just not possible.
Yeah. There's too much loss.
Mhm.
Like you said, it's all about the natural elements that are in that leaf.
Yeah.
And it dissipates over time, whether they were wrapped in cellophane or not, or whether even if it was in a plastic bag, but if there's no humidity control in there, it doesn't matter. And I have a box in my humidor that was given to me to hold by a mutual friend of ours. That was one of those circumstances where a friend of his gave him the box of cigars and said, these have probably been kept in a desk drawer for forever.
Yeah.
And they've been sitting in my humidor now for at least 3 years. And this box is still unopened.
Okay.
And eventually, I'll give them back to my friend, and he'll give them a try. And but they're probably going to taste more like a paper grocery bag than a good cigar.
Maybe super grassy or just like a leaf, it's like, fall
Yeah.
leaves kind of thing.
Yeah.
I did get, and I'm guessing it was probably in this Savoy humidor for at least a year or so,
Yeah.
if not maybe a little longer. It was a Davidoff Anniversario #1.
Oh.
And so I went up to my buddy Rick at Tobacco Grove and I'm like, is it worth giving this a go, rehumidifying? He goes, absolutely, try it. So I did, and I left it in the humidor in the bottom for like a year and a half.
Yeah.
Then I pulled it out and smoked it. It was still super enjoyable. It was just like very subtle, super mellow, but it was still really enjoyable. So, depending on the time frame, you can still have a really cool smoking experience. So the key to that, though, is by all means, don't try to rehumidify it quickly. Like,
right.
Dear God, don't put it in
Slowly.
a bag with 84% packs.
Oh my gosh.
Or with 75% packs. Put it in a bag with 69 or 65% and leave it for at least 6 months. Then test it with the humidimeter. If it's not,
don't run it under the faucet.
don't run it under the faucet. Don't put a wet paper towel in there because now you're going to mold it.
Yeah.
Let that acclimate really, really slowly.
Yeah.
Don't cut the cap because it's going to be too dry. So just let it go slowly. Leave it in that bag. And then at 6 months, test it. See where it's at.
Yeah.
I'd say if you can, go a year.
I picture the turkey from the Chevy Chase
National Lampoon.
National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. You just touch the knife and it just explodes. And I think taking a cigar that's that old and putting a cutter to it, that it would literally just like fall into dust.
Disintegrate.
Like on the
Yeah.
commercial or on the cartoons when the
Yeah.
cigar explodes.
Explodes.
Yeah.
Yes. Like the end of a cannon when they, literally jam a banana in there.
Well, I love what Tom says. I still have 2 from my son being born in 1985, and I think that's great.
Awesome.
I love those stories when people have cigars from. They still have cigars from either maybe when they were married or when their kids were born. I say celebrate those things, man.
Absolutely.
Have some special cigars on hand that you specifically keep to commemorate those. Like
That's awesome.
I had a cigar when my wife and I had our 20th wedding anniversary. I had a cigar from our honeymoon.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Now, I'll say over those 20 years, I wasn't really very knowledgeable about cigar storage for those first 10 of those 20
Sure.
years. But so, it wasn't in the best condition, but
Sure.
still, it's about that memory. You can
Yeah.
have a cigar and it can even be, it doesn't even have to be a fancy cigar.
Oh.
Who cares?
It could be a $3 cigar.
Doesn't matter.
Nope. If that's a cigar that links you to
That experience.
that experience, to some milestone in your life, then honestly, there's chances are that's gonna be number 1 on your
Yeah.
top 25 cigars list.
I keep coming back using examples like that. For any of you out there that watched that movie, the first Somm movie about the individuals testing for the master sommelier license.
Oh, I love
or
that.
certification.
I love those Somm movies.
And towards the end of the movie, one of the what's the right word? One of the candidates or what have you got invited out on a boat with 3 other people. One of them was Fred Dame, the
Yeah.
very first master sommelier in the world from the United States. And he cracked, I think it was a Domaine Romani Conti. I think a DRC one, like super expensive,
Yeah.
very rare bottle of wine. And he split that bottle into 4 big styrofoam cups.
Yeah.
And this guy said it was the best glass of wine he's ever had
Yeah.
on a boat,
Styrofoam cups.
on the ocean in a styrofoam cup.
That's right.
Nice.
So at the end of the day, Cigar Medics just chimed in. Love you guys.
We were just talking about them.
Yeah.
We were
We
just
were
talking about that.
talking
We
about
love your
Cigar
products.
Medics.
Go
We
visit
love
their
your
site.
product.
Those guys are fantastic. Tommy, Giovanni, great to see you guys.
We gotta stop and see Cigar Medics at PCA.
Yeah.
Yes.
this
Yeah,
year.
Cigar Medics, we're coming for you at PCA.
Coming
So
for
look
ya.
Talking
out.
about PCA. You just got back from TPE.
Oh
I-
yeah,
I
how was
did.
how was
How was it?
TPE
Tell
this year?
It was not too bad. It was a little slower than we all
Okay.
expected.
Yeah.
I think because PCA moved their date up from July to March.
Yep.
I think we saw
Drop.
a decline in cigar shops coming to that show. The rest of the show around the premium cigar was going like gangbusters, but I think for the premium cigar side, it seemed on the slow side.
So
Yeah.
with that, did you find more shops that are more of the like head shops or tobacco shops that have the mix
Yes.
with cannabis and
Yep.
the tobacco products? Because I feel like that's the way TP is going. And
It sure is.
I
Yeah.
also heard like something about they're not trying to phase tobacco, but their main focus isn't tobacco for that show.
Correct.
Obviously, right?
I still think there's a need to have premium cigars at that show.
Yes.
And for Boveda, because we're an accessory that, hits all these different segments of the market,
Yeah.
like most of our business during the TPE show is cash and carry distributors, wholesalers,
Right.
customers that have, 5, 6, 8, 10,
The
12.
smoke gels, stuff like that. right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Your traditional smoke shops that have more
Tinderbox.
vape, rolling tobacco, some
Oh
glassware.
yeah.
Maybe they carry CBD or they now have cannabis. And then they might have some cigars as well, but they're predominantly tobacco and vape and what have you. So it's all of those folks still came. It just was a little bit lighter on the premium cigar side.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um.
Good show though. I mean, it's always fun to get out and see
Oh,
our
yeah.
industry friends.
Yeah.
How was the rest of your experience there?
Huh. So I shared with Raul and Matt. I flew in last Sunday, and I like to be able to. I'm technically an inside sales rep with Boveda, but I like to be able to spend time in my customers' cigar shops and in their lounges and really get to know them. I like to be friends with the people that I work with. Flew out Sunday. Got in about noon, stopped at a brand new shop. I think the newest shop in Vegas called Smoke
Yeah.
Cigar Lounge. Beautiful shop. Shout out to Brad. You guys have done a great job. Watched the playoff football games, had a nice meal. They're the only cigar shop that does cigars, liquor, food, and gambling
Nice.
all in the same shop. It's awesome.
And that's off
gonna-
strip, right?
Off strip. Yeah,
We're
it's
gonna
like
have to stop there.
southwestish of the strip.
Okay.
Left the shop, stopped into Total Wine to buy a little something to keep at the Airbnb, so I didn't have to have a cocktail or whatnot while I was out having dinner, and I do that a lot. Pulled into the Total Wine, backpack on the floorboard behind the tinted windows, suitcase in the back of the SUV. Was in the store 5 minutes, came out to a window smashed and my backpack gone. So I started off the trip with no computer, no bathroom bag, no AirPods, no nothing. So thank goodness my team came out on Tuesday and was able to bring me a new laptop.
New computer, yeah.
A couple of my coworkers helped me cobble together the bathroom kit, and I was pretty much good to go. But those shop visits for the next 2 days were a little frazzled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a
You
bummer.
made it. You made it. That's all, man.
Yeah, you
right?
made it through.
Tried to stay positive and
Yeah.
force myself to take it a little easier on those shop visit days so I could
Yeah.
actually focus at TPE, which was kind of a nice side bonus.
Yeah.
Did you say a little prayer afterwards?
Did I say a little prayer?
Calm your
I
nerves,
did.
because I would have been.
I sure
was
did.
pissed.
Oh, yeah.
I sure did. Yep.
Yeah.
And luckily, shout out to Kim and John Turnagoric from Cigars for Warriors. If you ever get a chance to go to PCA, take yourself to the Cigars for Warriors booth and get a hug from John and Kim. They are hands down the best people. I love them so
Yeah.
much. And I met them at the Davidoff bar. And they texted and said they were there. And I said, how long are you going to be there? Oh, for a while. I said, all right, I'm coming to you. And she ran out of the shop to give me a hug, and he gave me a big bear hug. And man, did that fill my tank.
Good.
So find yourself some really good people when something crappy
Yeah.
happens, and just let them fill your tank a little bit.
So TPE's done now. Fast forward a couple months or less than a month and a half,
7
right?
weeks.
7 weeks.
7 weeks.
7 weeks countdown. You ready?
Yes.
So what's Boveda doing in preparation for PCA right around the corner, right after TPE?
So, what my best friend and coworker JP and I do, and the whole team does, we start reaching out to those accounts that didn't show up to TPE. Let them know what the the show special is going to be. Make sure that they're
Mhm.
going to be there. Make sure that we can get a nice big order, like slated to go, so that when they're there, we can maximize their time because it's busy.
Yeah.
It's busy.
Yeah. Now, when the sides of the business, there's the retail side and there's the wholesaler side and things like that. But then there's also the side where, you've got cigar companies in Dominican Republic, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, wherever, that they want to package their cigars when they ship, they want to package them with Boveda.
Yep.
So how does that work from a team perspective at Boveda? Is that it? Do you and JP, and other people on the general sales team handle that, or do you have people that specifically relate with the manufacturers?
So we have one individual, a gentleman by the name of Mike Staus.
Okay.
Mike came to us previously from Zycar and then was with Quality for a couple of years after that.
Yeah.
And then he was actually running a shop or part owner or manager, operations manager of a shop in Kansas City called La Cultura.
Mm.
Fantastic shop if you're ever in Kansas City. And he is strictly selling to OEM manufacturers. So Mike's sole job, and he does this at TPE and he does it at PCA, he runs around like a crazy person, meeting with every one of these manufacturers that isn't already packaging with Boveda to
Yeah.
get Boveda in those boxes. And what Boveda does in that box is there are only a handful of cigar manufacturers that humidify every stage of the process.
Yeah.
Fuente would be a big one. Their boxes are humidified. Everything is at the perfect humidity. They put that pack in, they ship it out.
Yeah.
Generally, what that pack is doing in a cigar box, and we make packs that are specifically sized super thin to humidify those cigars in transit from the manufacturer to that end user, the wholesaler or the retail shop.
Yeah.
Generally speaking, that pack is protecting those cigars from the dryness of that brand new cigar box.
Yeah.
And so there will be times that pack will be dry when it gets to the cigar shop. It's done its job. Now, we make two sizes of those packs. So we are pushing most of our manufacturers to switch to the slightly larger pack.
Yeah.
So that it does show up with some fluid in it, because the perception then is that the cigars are still great. Even though that dried out pack did its job, protected the cigar until it went in the humidor.
Yeah.
It's just a perception thing. So Mike has been crushing it, and just he's been adding manufacturers left and right. So he's just really doing a phenomenal job. So shout out to Mike Staus.
Oh, yeah. And that is something that means, as a consumer, that is something that means something to me. When I go into a brick and mortar shop and I buy a full box instead of just, a handful of cigars.
Yep.
When that box has that Boveda
sticker.
on
Uh-huh.
it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Or if I buy it from an online retailer and have it shipped to my house, like Corona Cigar or Smoke Inn, and have it shipped to my house. That sticker, I don't know, for some reason, it just instills a little bit more consumer confidence.
Yeah.
And and we've all been there. So anybody out there watching or listening, if you've bought a full box of cigars and that sticker, that Boveda sticker is on the outside of that box.
Yep.
You open it and that Boveda pack is dry. Don't worry about it. Because like Nate said, that pack, it did what it was supposed to do.
It kept the box from drying out the cigars.
It kept the box from drying out the cigars.
And the conditions. So now your cigars are okay. It goes in the humidor.
Right.
The cigars are fine.
Right. And just like most of us, and we've recommended this on the show multiple times, when you buy cigars, especially from an online retailer, and you have them shipped to your home, take those cigars, make sure the box, open the box, inspect the cigars, make sure everything's okay. And then take those cigars and put them in your humidor for, I'll say at least a week, but the longer the better.
Correct.
I'm doing minimum 6 months.
And Justin goes long term.
Yep.
Now for us, as far as like reviewing cigars, my personal rule of thumb, and everybody has their own, is if I buy a cigar, even if I buy it from a local brick and mortar shop, or if I have it shipped from an online retailer to my house, or if a manufacturer says we want to send you some cigars to review, I take those cigars and I put them in my own humidor. I will not review that cigar, like officially review that cigar, unless it's been in my own humidor for at least 2 weeks.
Smart. Yep.
Because I have no idea what kind of, whether it was, because those cargo cabins in airplanes are freezing cold.
Yep.
And
Or shipping containers.
or shipping containers.
Yep.
So you just never know. So
cigars really do go through the ringer
they do.
to get from point A to point B, C, D.
They do.
They go through the ringer.
Yeah.
And the fact that they hold up as well as they do,
Exactly.
It's kind of amazing.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
So, one, they're not quite as delicate as we make them out to be. Two, they're still somewhat delicate, but I think that's a great rule of thumb. Sit on your new cigars, especially full boxes, for at least a few weeks to a couple months. Let them acclimate. Let them really kind of come to equilibrium. You're going to have a much better smoking experience than if you just, like we all know, having been to these trade shows in Vegas, when you get a cigar,
I don't touch those for a while.
and I'm kind of like, I will light up a cigar that somebody gives me, but I generally won't finish it.
Right.
Yeah.
If I know it wasn't in a Ziploc with a Boveda when it came here, or it came to Vegas, because it's just going to be too dry.
Yeah.
And even when it gets to Vegas, it's still so dry out there trying to smoke them outside.
Exactly. And for the most part, one of the great things about Boveda is we all, and I generally put it together. We put together a couple, a medium humidor bag for everybody.
Yeah.
With a dozen cigars that are all perfectly humidified. And that's what we can smoke.
Right.
And then any of the cigars that we get from manufacturers, we just keep putting in another bag. And then we take that home and we sit on it for, a couple of months. We smoke them later when they're perfect.
Yeah. Well, so prime example, now that I'm thinking of this, because like I said, I was running out of storage space. So, I added on some of those big, storage containers, but they're the ones with the foam seal on top. So they actually,
the weather tight strip.
the weather tight strip. Yeah.
Yep.
So I've got some of those that I've added on, but I kid you not, I still have cigars in Boveda bags from last year's PCA.
I was going to say, I just got through mine around Christmas break. I think I took them all out.
And even within the last week, I've taken a cigar out of one of those Boveda bags. Yep. The Boveda pack that's in that bag is still extremely pliable.
Yep.
And the cigar is right on the money.
Yep.
And those bags.
And that was 9 months ago?
Yep.
If you ever get one of those bags, it will say on there, lasts for up to 6 months.
Yeah.
In point of fact, it goes well beyond that.
Yeah.
I have a couple of bags from TPE 2 years ago that still have cigars in them. I mean, I've changed cigars and moved them around.
Yeah.
But those Boveda packs are still perfect.
Yeah.
I might add one more in it if it's getting down to about 50%. They are still pliable.
Yeah.
It's crazy. There's my home shop is Tobacco Grove, and the gentleman that owns Tobacco Grove also owns Crux Cigars.
Yeah.
And in there, I think here in the cities, in their warehouse, they have Pelican cases that still have our original Humidipack,
Whoa.
which is 19 years ago now,
Yeah.
something
Wow.
like that. And they're still pliable.
Wow.
So the more airtight the container, those
Yeah.
packs can, if they're not giving off humidity, they're just going to stay like that in perpetuity almost.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy.
Well, speaking about storage and cigars and everything else, what does your collection look like?
Oh yeah. How do you
So,
like to collect your cigars?
I don't do a ton of collecting per se.
No
I-
aging?
Not really. I never did that with craft beer when I was in that industry or accessory to that industry. I don't generally do it with whiskeys. I don't do it with wine. I will sit on a lot of cigars, but the only reason they're aging is because I forget to smoke them.
I do a lot of that.
A big part of it is with 5 kids and a very modest income, I don't have enough expendable income to sit on whole boxes and not smoke them.
Yeah.
So when I get a box of cigars, I will sit on it for a couple of weeks. Like I have enough to not have to smoke it. But I just generally smoke through stuff. And I'm generally a proponent of I'll get a couple of nice cigars and I'll sit on them for a year, maybe 2. And then generally what happens is it's kind of a crappy Tuesday.
Yeah.
Oh, I got that really good cigar in the humidor.
There you
Dude,
go.
I'm lighting that cigar because
There
it's
you go.
Tuesday.
Something
Yep.
to fill your cup.
And Rob and I talked about this on the Box Press podcast when we smoked the Oro Blanco cigar. It's for those of you that don't know, it's an obscenely expensive $500 cigar. It's a spectacular cigar. I've never smoked a cigar with that many flavor changes in the
Yeah.
cigar. It was spectacular. I would maybe buy one just for kicks and giggles. But honestly, I don't think I would sit on it that long because like Carl Weathers just passed away
Mhm.
out of nowhere. You're not guaranteed to wake up tomorrow.
Right.
So granted, you can save it, but maybe just smoke it now.
Yeah.
Smoke them while you got them.
Smoke them while you got them.
Yeah.
So I tend to, if I have a buddy who had a really bad day and we want to smoke something good.
Yeah.
Hey, dude, it's Wednesday. Meet me at the cigar shop. We're going to smoke something good.
Yeah.
Then we smoke that.
Absolutely.
And I don't care if I've had 4 cigars already.
Right.
I still am going to smoke and it's going to be fantastic.
Yeah. Because there's something about the experience, the time spent with the cigar.
Yeah.
And there's the times that and all of us have been there. We can have that time where we have that cigar by ourselves.
Yep.
And just because of what maybe something going on in our life at the time, or maybe something we're reflecting on, or whatever it may be, that experience is meaningful and we even remember it years later. But it also time spent with friends.
Yeah.
Smoking cigars.
Yep.
Just memories just get made that way. It's interesting that this
Absolutely.
that this hobby, there's something about certain experiences. Like I can think back in my mind to different, whether it was PCA shows or times over at Red's Lounge or one time at Tobacco Grove, or first time I met Justin, or it's like there's something, and I think part of it is that one of the senses that's most strongly like linked to memory is our olfactory,
Mhm.
our
Mhm.
smell, and smells can more easily bring us back to memories than just about any other
They
sense.
can trigger memories
Yeah.
faster. than
Mhm.
anything.
So it's just something about the act of that cigar experience that can create this memory that'll get stored, and it'll come back to you at a time that you,
Smell is the greatest
Yeah.
trigger of memories.
and sometimes you just get
Yep.
this one interesting like aroma note from a cigar, and you're like, and it like
Floods back. Yeah.
it floods back, and
Yep.
you're like, I remember the first time I smelled that aroma from a cigar, and I remember where I was, I remember who I was with and what we were laughing about and whatever. I just love it.
Yeah, I like that too. And Tom D there makes a great point. Can't tell you how many $7 cigars I've aged, and now they smoke like a $10 to $15 cigar.
That is true.
You're spot on, and especially cigars in that we'll say $7 to $12 range, I think can really do well to sit on them for a while, because a lot of those sharp or harsher edges really get knocked off.
Yeah.
And it can really make them into great cigars.
Yeah.
I also think that predominantly most of the cigars we all smoke are meant to smoke right now.
Yeah. A lot of them are.
I mean, they're made to smoke right now.
Yeah.
So smoke them right now or sit on them. There's like, do what you like.
And most of these companies have already done the aging for us.
Yeah.
They've done the hard work.
Yeah.
You know, some of them haven't, and you can tell sometimes you get a cigar and you smoke it, and it's like this cigar is this cigar.
Not
Yeah,
ready
right.
yet,
It's
yeah.
not ready.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I like Matt. So Matt Vegdahl's a friend of ours from here in town. We have to promote Unicorn Friday. I love that. You know,
That's
but
a great idea.
Fridays go deep, and I love John McTavish from Developing Palates.
Sure.
He's got this great term that he uses for when he goes like into the primo stash of his humidor. He calls it his tickle trunk. And I love that. And I agree, Matt. We should, you know, because I do have some cigars that you know, I just save. And typically for me, it's like if I host a poker game here, you know, people know if they come to play poker at my house, that there's going to be some old shit coming out of the
There's
humidor
gonna be
that
all-
I'm gonna pass around the
Look at
table.
what I'm opening up, boys.
Yeah, and I just love doing that.
That's the only reason why I come play.
Right. And you guys do such a great job of that. Raul, you're super generous. Matt, you're all three of you. Justin, you're all super generous. I also like being very generous. I just don't have the unicorns that I sit on as much. I think due in large part, most of, like, especially for my wife and I, most of our expendable income is spent in going out for nice dinners or just dinners together.
Yeah.
And so if I can take, you know, $200 or $300 that I might spend on a box of cigars.
Yeah.
Now, granted, a bonus of working in the industry is I can buy some really good cigars for
Reasonable price.
really, really good prices.
Yeah.
Or we get them sent to you. I mean,
Yeah, people
somebody
send.
gives you a gift and it's great.
Yeah.
But I generally, if I have that money sitting around, I'd like to spend it, like you said, with somebody I really care about. And I love having dates with my wife. So we do that.
Definitely.
And I spend what I can in cigars. And I usually buy 1 or 2 or 5 every time I'm in a shop.
How much money do you spend on cologne? Because
In a
you
year-
guys can't smell it right now, but he smells fabulous.
In a year,
He's got a good collection.
That's my Barry White.
Different fragrances.
Mm.
I don't know.
I mean, because a bottle will last you a couple of years, right?
No. Jesus, no.
No?
No. So most
I got shit from high school stuff.
most guys that wear cologne, you know, it's like 2 spritzes and 1 on the wrist. My uncle on my mom's side, she only had 1 brother, always smelled fantastic. Like, not heavy, but like you could always smell it. Like, he'd give you a hug and you could like smell it on your clothes. He taught me how to properly wear cologne. So I would say I probably spend $600 a year on cologne.
Oh,
So
that's
tell us
not
how
bad
you
at all.
properly wear cologne.
So what you do is the first couple of days when you get a brand new cologne is you're kind of figuring out what the right number is. But I'm
Okay.
usually somewhere between 5 and 8 spritzes on my chest,
I am way apparently I'm
Okay.
way
On
underusing
your
cologne.
bare chest?
bare chest. So here's the trick: on my chest, and then just a couple on my wrist. I never wear it on my neck because any of those heat points, it's just gonna dissipate immediately. So
Oh.
you put it on your chest, and then you immediately put your shirt on. So I go right from the bathroom, and the first thing I do is put my shirt on. And what that does is now your shirt and your clothes absorb most of that fragrance
Okay.
and give it off much more slowly throughout the day.
Okay.
And is when you find that right number where it's not overpowering, but it's like you have to be like right here to smell it. But then
Yeah.
when you smell it, you're like, oh crap, that smells awesome.
You know Ben Lee from he used to be he's been in cigar media a long time. Now he's part of the Cigar Coops team.
Oh yeah.
And
Yeah.
he's a big fragrance guy. I mean, he literally has hundreds of bottles and he's obsessed with it. And you guys would love talking about
I
kind of
spend anywhere from $170 to $250 a bottle of cologne.
Okay.
And I just wear it. It's the one thing that makes me happy. The worst thing about my bag getting stolen in Las Vegas with my bathroom kit in it, and luckily the bottle was down about to the end, so it wasn't that big of a loss. And I could replace it with something I knew I liked in Vegas because they have all the shops.
Yeah.
But that one day without my cologne, I was like, ugh, dude, this day sucks so hard.
Man, I smell like a normal person now.
I smell like nothing. Like I'm like, ugh.
Yeah.
So that
Right.
next day I was able to get to the store and I'm like,
Oh,
I feel like a human again. And I immediately put a couple spritzes on just to make me feel
Oh,
normal
sure,
again.
yeah.
But that's the trick is layering scents. The other way that you can get a lot of scent that will last a long time is spritz it on a couple spritzes on your hands and run it through your hair. Because your hair will hold it a lot longer than anything else.
Yeah, Raul, I think.
Oh yeah, Raul, you should definitely do that.
Thanks, buddy.
Tap, tap,
Thanks,
tap, tap,
thanks,
tap.
You
thanks,
got
buddy.
hair in other places you can rub it.
Yeah, my eyebrow.
My bad. But that's the trick. And so that was one of the things that my uncle taught me
Okay.
that I've always taken with me.
Also, what I've noticed with you is you don't smell like cigars like I do when I'm done smoking with the guys.
Yeah.
You still have that nice fresh smell.
Yep.
That must help when you go into
It sure does.
different stores.
It sure
and
does,
everything
yeah.
else, you know.
In fact, when I was in college, one of the fragrances that I wore, and I'm 50 now, you two for sure would remember this, but do you remember a fragrance? It was spelled Joop. Do you remember that?
Yoop.
Yope or Yoop?
Yeah.
It was one of those like super polarizing scents.
Yeah.
And I was like, when I first smelled it, I'm like, no, thank you. And then one day I took a flyer on it and I was like, oh shit, this smells really good.
Yeah.
And in college, I was both in choir and the concert band. I was a singer and a trumpet player. And for at least the whole spring semester, the second chair clarinetist who was dating and now married to the first chair clarinetist, every day when she'd see me walk in, would walk up to me. She would like bury her nose right here and go, thank you. And then she'd walk away. It was awesome. I'll never forget that. You know, like though again, smells
Yeah.
can really bring back like a place. It can make you feel
Oh, yeah.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Well, honestly, and I don't have any of it anymore, but we remember back the 1980s old fashioned green bottle polo.
Polo.
Yep.
You smell that stuff, and I haven't had it. I haven't owned it in decades, but
Yep.
you smell green bottle original polo.
Yep.
It instantly takes me back to the hallways of high school.
Totally.
Or Dracar Noir.
Dracar Noir. Yeah.
Takes you
Cool
back
water.
Dracar
Yeah,
Noir.
the
cool water.
I was
Cool
never-
water. Yes.
I was never into cool.
Yeah.
That was a little after
preferred stock.
Yes.
So
Pierre
Our
Pierre
dads all-
Cardin.
Our dads
Let's
all
go.
wore
I was just
Stetson.
gonna Stetson.
Uh-huh.
That's what it was. I was just gonna say.
My
That
dad was English leather.
Oh yeah.
That's
Yeah.
another one, too.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Canoe.
Oh,
Yeah.
I do.
And what was the ones in the like
Obsession.
the cars?
Yes.
Obsession was a good one too.
Oh yeah.
The ones that were in the cars, you know, they would come in a car
yeah.
or
A
Something like
cowboy boot.
yep,
Yeah.
something like
Yes.
Weird shaped bottles.
And David asked, like, you know, what kind of cologne do I wear? Eau de toilette, eau de parfum. If I can find it and it's not ungodly expensive, eau de parfum, it just lasts longer.
Yeah.
Most colognes are eau de toilette. And basically they just get more and more longer lasting.
water.
Yeah, more water, alcohol too.
Yeah.
Fragrance. And the thing that I've found is as I've started to wear better fragrances, I had occasion to become friends with a gentleman that owned a boutique in Austin, Texas that had fine European fragrances. He made his own shaving products, shaving brushes that were just
Oh yeah.
magnificent. He carried all these British and French colognes and perfumes. People that have reactions to fragrances generally have reactions to your traditional department store fragrances.
Yeah.
And that's mostly chemicals, synthesized scents. And they're usually, you're not allergic to it, but you're irritated by it.
Yeah.
The better fragrances are alcohol and actual fragrance oil.
Okay.
And unless you have an irritation or an allergy to an actual one of those pure fragrance oils, and even then it's hit or miss because kind of like peanut allergies, supposedly peanut oil isn't an allergen because all of the
Right.
all of the protein is gone.
Yeah.
At any rate, I've never had a person who is generally irritated by fragrances be bothered by one of the colognes I wear because it's nothing
Okay.
but pure fragrance oils
Yeah. Yeah.
or diluted fragrance oils.
Oh
Brute.
my gosh, Brute.
Brute.
Oh,
The green
the
bottle.
green plastic
That
bottle.
was the Axe of the 70s.
That was like late elementary, early junior high.
Ooh,
locker room, you know, because I did a little bit of sports back then, and
Yep.
you're in the locker room, and it basically smells like Brute and BO.
Totally.
Nobody actually showered.
No.
They just would splash Brute in their pits.
Now it's Axe. Yeah,
Now it's Axe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Um,
awesome.
All right.
Let's check in on the mystery whiskey. I really do enjoy it. I think it's a nice scotch. I think it's right on the line for people who, you know, there's the Highland whiskeys, and then there's the peaty whiskeys, and I think this nicely fits in between
Yeah.
both those categories.
Yeah.
Any guesses?
I'm going to take a stab and throw out Glenfarclas.
No, it's no Glenfarclas.
No, not Glenfarclas.
Glenfarclas is one of my favorite budget scotches, though. I mean, the Glenfarclas 10-year, you can get a bottle of that for less than $40, and it's really good.
Mm-hmm.
This one, don't. I didn't look. I feel like this may. I'm going to shoot myself in the foot because my favorite kind of scotch is the Balvenie,
Yeah.
and I think this might be one of theirs.
It's in that wheelhouse.
It is.
Yeah, it's for sure in that
Okay.
wheelhouse.
Oh, Murray. Yeah, this is Alexander Murray,
Mhm.
Nice.
24-year-old scotch.
Good
You know I
lord.
don't fuck around.
Wow.
Strathmill Distillery single malt Scotch whiskey, aged 24 years.
Alexander Murray and Company. This
It's delicious.
is really nice.
It's delicious.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you, brother, for
The
this.
one I've not ever purchased is the Kirkland, I think 23-year Speyside. Have you purchased said bottle for like $78 at Costco?
He's given me some Kirkland whiskeys on the mystery whiskey and thrown
And
me
a
for a
rum.
loop.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
a rum. Even.
They're outstanding.
Yeah. A lot of the stuff that I mean, if it says Kirkland on the bottle, a lot of the spirits they have are from top tier distilleries.
I think all of them are.
Yeah.
Yeah, all of them are.
Because they can buy so much of it.
It's
Right.
You know what I mean?
unbelievable.
Right. Yeah.
I heard their vodka is really good too.
hmm
I've had their gin. It's good.
Yeah.
It's
Yep.
good gin. Thank you for this, Raul.
This is
You're
delicious.
welcome,
Thanks,
man.
Roll.
Mm.
Mm.
I
You
think
think?
I sadly might be wrong, but the rest of the scotches are going to be a step down from this.
Well, I mean, that's okay. That's all right. I mean, you know, we started out strong, and 24-year-old scotch. That's
Well, I mentioned the Oro Blanco.
yeah.
It's delicious, but a $22 Davidoff is
Yeah.
also delicious.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
I wouldn't worry too much about that, Roll.
Oh yeah.
All right. So what were we going to say,
I
Justin?
was going to think, I don't know. I think it's time.
It might be. I think it is time. What do you think, Matt?
Hmm.
You know what? I think you're right.
I think
it is time. All right, guys. It is now time for this week's
Numero de los Muertos.
And as always, Numero de los Muertos, brought to us by our friends at Smoke Inn. All right. Numero de los Muertos, episode 232. And this one's really messed up, guys. Like severely messed up. So
That's the greatest intro ever.
yeah.
This is messed up.
This is another one of those that we've sort of been trending on lately. The number is 1. I know.
It's not Niagara Falls, right?
Nope.
Okay.
That's right.
Oh wait, that was Rob.
That was
Sorry,
Rob.
that was
That was-
Rob.
that was Rob.
Oh, okay.
Nailed it.
Literally, it was less than 2 seconds.
Niagara Falls.
Yeah. And
What?
Garrett was just like, son of a.
Look at, did Raul just pee in the
Oh,
corner?
that's not bourbon. He said,
I know.
didn't he say bourbon?
Whatever it is. I don't care.
It's Scotch month, damn it.
I got that
Ooh.
bottle from Luciano.
You did.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Glenfiddich 14.
Oh,
All right.
dang.
All right. So the
As one
number,
does.
the number this week is 1. Tom, accidental anal insertion.
Ooh.
As a friend of mine who is an ER nurse says, it's never accidental.
And it's a no.
Yeah, and it's anal. Yes. Did Raul just pee in the corner?
Yes.
Well, I mean, you got to keep a pee corner. You have
Possibly.
to establish a pee corner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's been going this whole time.
Marking my
Don't ask what's in that bottle.
Yes.
It's got a little pho on it in it.
A little what?
Pho.
Pho?
Famunda.
From
He was just waiting for the opportunity.
he was.
Just waiting.
I'm gonna. I
You-
finished that Millennium
Yep.
Lancero. I'm gonna light up a
Yep.
H99 Phineas Gauge.
You and me both.
Yes.
They are pretty good. I don't want to go back to work.
That H99 Papas Fritas.
They're phenomenal.
I mean,
I had one of those this morning, actually.
it's
Yeah.
just.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it's so good.
Mhm.
This is actually the first time I'll be smoking the Lancero.
Do we
you,
call
you
it?
should probably cut it the right way.
Do
Then.
we say Boner City?
Boner City. That was my nickname in college. So my wife and I had this running trend for years where both of us did the "that's what she said" joke.
Yep.
And we realized it was kind of getting stale. So I said, well, let's just replace it with it. Anytime that it would be proper to say the comment, "that's what she said," we replace it with "that was my nickname in college." You'd be surprised. It works almost every time.
It's like the Chinese restaurant fortune cookie. You always end it with either "in bed" or "in my pants,"
Yes. Yes.
and it's spectacular.
I second that.
It's spectacular.
Yes.
I love it.
So on this week's numero de los muertos,
Yes, thank you, Justin.
Is
Keeps
there
us on
an
the rails.
animal
To circle back.
involved? Is there animals involved?
Oh,
Is it fact or fiction? Do we hit
Did
that?
we even
right?
tell what it was yet?
is it?
We
Bigger?
just said one.
We
Yeah.
said one.
We said
Yep.
one. We haven't even got
That's
past
all. That's
that.
all we've gotten through
Okay,
so
so-
far. So, according to my source, it's fact. Now, you know how the internet can be, but I think it's fact.
Okay.
Yeah. Animals are not involved.
Okay.
Mm.
So how did they die? We didn't explain that, did we?
Well, I can't just outright tell
Tell
you.
you.
Well, I know.
That's-
Where was this at?
Where was it at?
Yeah, was this on land or water?
Land.
Okay.
Was it in the United States or Europe or Africa or Australia?
Jamaica, man.
It does not.
South America? South America?
It does not give me a country.
Of origin.
Is this a recent death?
2001.
2001.
I still-
And our
Okay.
clue is one.
And then one
The
person
number was. This is one
died from this.
totally like
Justin,
out there
No, I'm
weird.
still alive.
do you
Cause of
know
death.
how good you look with that new camera on you?
You like that?
Huh.
Pretty sharp.
It is so smooth, honestly. It's so crisp.
Yeah.
That background looks actually like you're sitting outside.
Yeah,
Mhm.
It
Right.
is
Hey,
lovely.
We're
Nice
making
job, Matthew.
improvements, Making improvements.
making
Man.
improvements.
Nice job.
Is this
man.
work related?
Is it bigger than Breadbox?
This was not bigger than a bread box and not work related.
What about automobiles involved?
There were no vehicles involved.
Were there weapons?
Or was this an accidental death?
It was not accidental.
Is it-
Weapons were involved.
So someone got murdered.
Yeah, but the circumstances surrounding the murder are just really, really, really messed up. I mean, like, really. I saved this one, just
Did
because
somebody
Nate's
fall
on
off the
show.
flat earth?
No, nobody fell off the flat Earth.
Oh,
No.
darn it.
Still looking for that person.
Yeah.
Dang it.
Dang it.
There's
The
got to
flat
be
Earth.
one
Ooh,
out there.
That's got to be one.
Yeah.
Right. They just stepped off and bye bye.
The Viking ship must.
Oh man.
Fun. Uh huh.
That cigar.
Alec Baldwin, something says.
Not Alec Baldwin.
I don't know how he died, but I've probably...
He's not dead. He's a killer.
oh, okay. There you go.
Accidental killer.
Oh,
This is going to be tough to get for you guys.
Give us a hint.
is this like a certain time of the year or?
It doesn't
Yeah.
mention what time of the year it happened.
Murder by Baldwin. Somebody.
It was a murder.
Okay. Slingshot involved.
No slingshot.
Did it involve another person?
Yeah, there were 2 people involved in this particular incident.
Did the murderer end up getting killed instead of the victim?
No.
Okay.
hurt?
Goodness gracious.
Yeah, but both people were no one left this incident unscathed.
Is this a male and female involved, or is it?
I'm not sure, honestly. I can't. These names are not
Okay.
Did they
Western enough for me to really.
So we're in Europe.
did they die?
I think
having
we're in.
sex?
No.
Okay.
You had to think about that for a second.
I
though.
did
Mhm.
though. Yeah.
He was like, "What kind of sex?"
Like I said, this is really David Floyd pegging.
Pegging.
No, it's
No,
not.
that was last week with Mickey
That
Peg.
was-
Pickle.
Pickle.
Pickle, what do you got?
You left a comment. I can't see what it is.
I
though.
see you, but we see no comment.
He
Let's
just wanted
go
to make sure I
dark.
said hi. What's
Cannibalism.
up,
Okay, Jason.
Oh,
Jason Pohl.
We're getting closer.
So
Did the murderer
What-
get
what
food
year was
poisoning
this?
after
What-
eating the victim?
2001.
2001.
Cannibalism is involved.
Oh.
Did the murderer get like food poisoning from eating said victim?
Did he check? Did he choke on a
Not,
neck bone?
not exactly.
Did he
Not
choke on a ball? He choked on the cock. The anus. What?
I just
We're so close.
this one's so bizarre.
He was
I have
giving head to a dead body and died from the spoiled juices left over.
That's what I said, like food poisoning or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
That is pretty dark.
I know it is.
okay. So Jason, hookup gone bad. Pretty much. Yeah. So this one's so bizarre. I just have to read this to you
Okay.
guys. All right. Self-induced cannibalistic masochism. Inviting a friend over for dinner is one thing, but turning that same friend into the main course is a completely different sack of potatoes, especially when said friend enjoys the meal too. Such was the case when burned Jurgen Brandes, who posted an internet advertisement in 2001 stating that he was, quote, looking for someone with whom to eat his penis with, and then for that person to eat him. There's more. I know.
So hold on. Some guy ate somebody else's penis and the other guy ate him.
We'll get there.
Did you say the guy wanted him to eat?
Yes.
So the guy wanted somebody to eat
Yes.
him. So
Mhm.
he went on Craigslist and he like filled out an ad or something and he's like, "Come eat my junk."
Penis.
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna eat you.
So someone by the name of Armin
Oh wow.
Mewes eagerly replied to this ad and they got together.
Eagerly.
For starters, they both dined on Brandis's now severed penis,
Okay.
after which Mewes killed Brandes by stabbing him several times in the neck and then ate him. Gravy, anyone? That's what the...
Somebody says hell of a Tinder date.
That puts Jeffrey Dahmer to shame.
Yeah, the same
I mean-
person said Jeffrey Dahmer.
Oh my
That-
goodness.
That's like Dahmer and Lecter
Had a baby.
in one messed up person.
Oh, man.
Good Lord.
So
Yeah, that's an odd one, Matt.
I mean
How do you volunteer for that?
I mean I've seen
Grinder.
some really messed up
Yeah,
stuff.
there it is. Grinder date.
I've seen some really messed up stuff. Like back in the day, did you ever just to see how weird people were, did you ever go looking at the weird ads on Craigslist?
Oh yeah.
I did back
Oh,
then.
yeah.
Just because there was some
curious, right?
there was some
Yeah.
weird shit. And I haven't been on Craigslist in years, but
Right.
but this one, this goes like 7,000 steps too far.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, come over to my house.
Is that like the next level of a dick pic?
That is. That is.
Come over to my house, eat my penis, then I'm gonna eat you.
Yeah.
Oy. What
From a medical X point of view, how did he stop the bleeding when he cut off his own penis? Did he singe it? Burn it with an iron?
They just press some
Oh,
pressure on it.
Put some pressure on it?
Oh, how is the
And how-
Chianti?
How did he cook it?
That was the Chianti.
How did he cook it? How did he prepare it?
Oh,
I don't know, but
that's like
It
some
opens
news
so
of the-
many more questions.
That's like some news of the weird shit.
put it on
Just gone dark.
a stick, dip it in corn batter, and deep fry it
That sounds like a safe
like a-
fare.
right?
Safe
like
for corn dogs,
like a
right?
pronto pup.
Oh, oh my
How about
lord!
that? How them dogs? Huh?
I'm never eating a corn dog again.
How about that, Nate Dog?
That is the definition of a skin-on wiener.
Oh, wow.
Oh
dude.
goodness!
Too soon. Too
Natural
I think
casing.
we've
Natural
officially,
casing.
we've officially gone off the rails and lost a couple viewers. It's okay.
Oh no, sous vide.
Oh my god.
That's good, Tony.
It's gotta be sous vide. I mean,
Oh, that's awesome. Oi.
Yeah. I mean, I told you guys it was messed up. But you're a firefighter. You've gone on a lot of weird medicals.
yeah.
Do we still hold to the no ketchup and it's got to be just mustard?
Well, that my personal preference.
Like,
Yeah.
you have to, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Mustard
we
on the
have
wiener?
standards.
Yeah.
We have standards.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, unless it's a Chicago dog, and then I'll pretty much get everything on.
This is a European dog, according to you.
Oh, it's a European dog. This is a European dog. Yeah.
A Vienna sausage of
So
sorts.
sauerkraut
Uh-huh.
and
And depending on the guy, it might have even been a cocktail weenie.
If they both were eating on it,
Maybe they had cocktails. It was
Well,
a real
then-
cocktail weenie.
well, then you got to think about their religious background, and was it circumcised? Or, never mind.
Yeah.
And that was this week's Numero de los Muertos.
way to keep us on track there, producer.
Oh, thank you, producer.
And on to the lightning round, brought
Oh
to
my
us
gosh.
by
Yikes! Yeah, thank you for
JC Newman.
getting me out of that craziness. The lightning round brought to us by our friends at JC Newman Cigar Company, America's oldest family-owned premium cigar maker, creators of the popular Brick House, Perla Del Mar, Diamond Crown, and The American. JC Newman Cigar Company operates out of their 113-year-old El Reloj Cigar Factory in historic Cigar City, Tampa, Florida. For more information on their cigars or visitor experience, please visit jcnewman.com. All right. Now, Nate, you've been on the show before,
I have.
so you've had some of the lightning round
I have.
questions. But we have some fresh, new lightning round questions. I want Raul
Fresh.
to go with his first.
Fresh.
So, Nate,
Yes.
what is the most overrated and underrated fast food out there?
Because we know you're a big foodie, right?
know
We didn't
I
get
am.
into that. We
I
didn't
am.
get into that, but we know you know some good and bad food places. If
Most
anybody knows,
You said fast food, right?
Yeah.
Oh. I'm going to go out on a limb and say most overrated might just be
Don't you say it.
In-N-Out Burger.
All right.
Yeah,
Just based on like pure fandom.
that's a
That's a
common-
It's-
popular
popular
answer.
It's
It
a
is.
decent
Yeah.
burger, but it's like the fries suck. And I don't even really eat French fries, but their fries are terrible.
Unless you get them, like literally, they put them from the fryer
Right.
into your hand.
Right.
Do
But
you eat freedom fries?
no,
Freedom fries.
Yeah.
no, what I say is my preferred pronouns are U, S, and A. No freedom fries.
America.
Like they're just soft and soggy,
Yeah.
and they're great with the like animal style, but then they're like just like a weird mushy poutine. But
Yeah.
the burgers are okay. The experience is great, but I think it's slightly overrated. And my girls will probably hate. They'll never see this, but and most underrated. This is easy, hands down. Taco Bell.
Oh, really?
So Taco Bell, several people have reviewed, like the two big taco chains, like fast food, are Del Taco and
Yeah.
Taco Bell.
Yeah.
While Del Taco uses more fresh ingredients in making their tacos, both reviewers said that Taco Bell still tasted way better. I think for consistency, for price point, and for just sheer deliciousness, Taco Bell is super underrated.
There is something about
It's spectacular.
Taco Bell. I
I
don't know what it is.
Love Taco Bell.
Yeah,
There's a burrito I get with just the cheese.
Yes.
Chili cheese burrito.
Chili-
yeah, the chili
burrito.
cheese burrito.
It's so good.
Yeah,
John
It's so
Haggard
good.
got me hooked on
Yeah.
that, and I
It's
love
so
that.
good.
when they put the Fritos inside it.
I haven't had that yet, no.
They make that. I think those are like seasonal, but they'll put those spicy red
The chili
Doritos.
cheese
Mhm.
for-
Yeah.
Oh, the Doritos. Yeah.
No, not the Doritos.
Oh,
They're Fritos.
The
They're
chili cheese.
Yeah.
but they're not chili cheese. They're like flaming hot Cheetos, except
They're free.
on a Frito.
Yes.
What?
Yeah.
And they put them inside the chili cheese burrito, and it's
I don't eat French fries at all, really, but the nacho
Yeah.
fries,
yeah,
awesome. They're delicious.
they are.
The
They're awesome.
Gordita crunch.
Taco Bell uses penis meat. I don't care.
Yeah,
We
I
just
don't.
talked about
Anthony.
eating penises.
I don't.
They are obviously delicious.
Yeah, I mean, hey,
Of course, Dax
See?
can say 2 of them.
That's
Mhm.
Dax. That's because you're a champion of men, Dax.
You're a
That's
beast,
what that
man.
is.
You're a beast.
all right. So Nate,
Yes.
what is, in your opinion, out of all the, because I know you're a big movie guy.
Yep.
What do you think is the worst movie remake of all time and the best movie remake
Mm.
of all time?
And Dax, it is not what you were gonna say.
Boy, worst and best.
Yeah.
He said Top Gun last time.
Top
No,
Gun.
because the Top Gun remake was the latest one was awesome.
It wasn't
was-
a remake.
That's not a
It
remake,
was a
technically.
sequel.
But it was the sequel.
That
That
was,
was
that was a
awesome.
great movie, though.
Remake. Boy, that's a good question. I'm trying to remember what movies were remakes that I've watched. You got me there.
Oh man, this is a change of pace.
Yeah.
Weller Special Reserve after that
Oh.
Scotch.
Right?
Cinnamon.
Right? Lots of cinnamon. Lots of
Cinnamon.
Lots of cinnamon. Yeah. Boy, worst remake.
Yeah, this is a tricky one.
Oh, Karate Kid. That would be a worst remake.
Oh, I got to agree with you there. That's
Yep.
That was
terrible.
absolutely horrible.
Yeah.
Horrible.
Horrible.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
And like a best remake. Say
There-
it.
There's 2
I'm
that
curious which one he's thinking
there's
of.
no, because we kind of know each other as far as like our tastes and
Yeah.
entertainment, movies,
Yeah.
music, stuff like that. There's 2 that I'm thinking you might mention as far as good, really high quality movie remakes.
Like there's one that I'm looking forward to seeing that I think is going to be
Okay.
spectacular as a
Okay.
remake. The new Roadhouse.
I think it's gonna suck.
But I think it has potential, and I've heard from some that have seen preview showings that have said it's pretty great.
How can you do?
but it's different. So it's
first
not
off,
great.
let me stop right there.
it's not great, and it's not Patrick Swayze.
It's not Patrick Swayze and it's not Sam Elliott.
Sam
Done.
Elliott. Yeah.
Right?
Done.
Right.
It's done.
Right.
It can't.
Yeah.
Boy, remakes.
What'd you think of the West Side Story remake?
I hate West Side Story, so I don't care about either of them.
You hate
It's my
West
least
Side
favorite
Story?
musical of all time.
Are you
Leonard
kidding me, bro?
Bernstein, Stephen Sondheim.
Correct.
You
It's the word. It's my least favorite thing he ever did.
Oh, we got to talk about this.
Maria,
Nate.
I don't like it. I never have.
when you're a chick.
Oh, my.
Oh,
David says there's rumors there's going to be a redo of
Blazing Saddles.
That-
They
Yeah,
can't.
oh,
They
he
can't.
says-
They
possibly
can't
do
He
that.
says,
They won't
and
put it
he's
out.
lying.
The world is,
Oh,
yeah, the world's,
The world's not ready for that.
yeah.
Halloween. The Dune
God, what I'm
remake
trying to think of
is
like
Boom,
major
right there.
films that have been remade.
I
Dune.
agree with you, Jason. 100%.
Dune.
Dune, yeah.
The Dune remake was very, very well done.
Like I really enjoyed the remake of True Grit.
Yeah, that's came up.
That's one of the ones I thought you were
that
going
was
to.
the one that I've been
mention.
thinking about for a little while.
Yeah.
I thought they put a unique enough twist on it, and the cast was freaking awesome.
Yeah.
I absolutely love Jeff Bridges,
Mm,
and I thought that one was real excellent.
And the way that the way that the Coen brothers write dialogue,
So good.
I think they write the best character dialogue in the business. I
Oh,
don't
for
think
sure.
I don't think there's they write better dialogue than Tarantino,
Yes.
and
Well,
I
like,
think they do. I
and
think
Jeff Bridges kind of had that sort of sling blade thing going
Yes.
on. I think I want you to talk about that.
and he almost does the
French
same.
fried
He almost
taters.
does the same voice in Hell or High Water.
Yes.
It's almost that the exact
Also a great
same
movie.
with the jaw, push forward, and
Kind of out a little bit.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, I would
His-
say that would be probably the one I'd put
Okay,
Jeff
because-
Bridges best
because
role.
that's a recognizable remake.
Jeff Bridges' best role. Oh,
Yeah.
that's a good question.
Oh.
It's got to be the dude.
I mean, the Big Lebowski was
It was
great.
the most entertaining
But-
role.
Honestly, there was one for me. There was one from the early '90s, and it was unfortunate because his performance was great in this movie, but it was sort of overshadowed by Robin Williams. There's a movie called The Fisher King,
Oh yeah.
early '90s.
Yeah.
And it was a great movie. Robin Williams' performance was over the top and outstanding, and Michael Jeter was great. But Jeff Bridges was, I think he did a phenomenal job in that.
He's one of my favorite actors.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cape Fear. That's a good one.
Cape Fear was a great remake.
Forgot that's a remake.
Yes.
Yeah, because that was what Gregory Peck in the first one.
Yeah, it was Gregory Peck, and then
Robert De Niro.
the new one,
De Niro
De
and
Niro, Nick Nolte.
Nick Nolte. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very good remake.
Non like who's the guy from Point Break? That would be another terrible
Swayze.
remake.
Keanu Reeves.
No, not Keanu
Or,
Reeves. The
Swayze?
Gary Busey.
Oh, Busey,
yeah.
not Busey.
Crazy Busey.
Oh my gosh.
Like Nick Nolte has kind of gone Busey a little bit in his later
A
years.
little bit.
A little bit.
But he's
Yeah.
I mean, he's held up. He was in Tropic Thunder, and he was in a couple other, sort of big name.
He was actually kind of
Movies.
hilarious in that Robert Redford film, A Walk in the Woods. Did you ever see that?
Oh, hilarious!
Oh, great movie.
I love that movie.
That movie was hysterical.
I think Redford.
Like sort of
Yeah.
under the radar. I thought that movie was great.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what was the other one that you were thinking of?
The other one was Cape Fear. So
Oh,
I was thinking,
yeah.
thinking that you were either going to say Cape Fear or True Grit.
True Grit. Yeah.
Yeah.
When you first said it, that was the first one that came to mind.
Yeah.
I guess I forgot that Cape Fear was a remake.
Oh yeah.
I remember one of my first infatuations with cigars started because of Cape Fear.
Mm-hmm.
Like really cemented the deal because Robert De Niro smoking those like 60 ring gauge
60 ring
cigars.
gauge, yeah.
Oh, and they look like such a massive cigar.
Yeah.
And now you see it and go, yeah,
Oh yeah. That's an average size cigar.
whatever. Whatever. Now he'd be smoking like a 9x90, like
Oh
some
brother.
comical bullshit.
Or that Aganorsa leaf lunatic that was
Well, and even like
10 by 100.
to look at Swayze, like
Oh.
I kind of hope the new Roadhouse
Yeah.
is different enough that it isn't even like the old one to make it kind of enjoyable.
That's what I'm hoping. And I think I love Jake Gyllenhaal. I think he's insanely talented. He's just very versatile and in a role like this that's kind of supposed to just be a fun popcorn movie.
Mhm.
I'm hoping
I think it'd be more serious and a little darker.
and how
Kind of,
awesome
yeah.
how awesome would it be if the studio was able to keep it quiet enough and there's this secret like 2-minute cameo at the end with Sam Elliott.
Oh,
I mean, how
Dude,
sick would that
yeah.
be? Honestly.
dude.
Oh,
That would be
no. He
awesome.
He died.
Sam Elliott did.
Oh, he
I
did die in the
He
first
died
one.
in the
Yeah.
first one.
Maybe they'll have
His
like
character died. Yeah,
Swayze or
Right.
Sam Elliott like framed in a picture somewhere in the
That would
background.
That'd be cool.
that would be sweet.
I'm interested in how Conor McGregor's gonna do.
Yeah. I hope he's better at acting than he is at making scotch
By the
or
way,
making Irish
the
whiskey.
original Roadhouse, David just nailed it. The original Roadhouse is not that good. It's totally not. It's terrible.
Exactly.
It's just one of those cult movies that you can't like. If you flip channels
Yes.
You can't pass
and you
it.
see Roadhouse, you're
That's
like, "Well, I'm
right.
fucking in it now."
Yeah.
It's one of the best bad movies ever made.
I love it.
It's horrible.
And-
No,
Yeah.
And for the
don't
record,
want to hear it.
Kelly
Blasphemy.
Lynch. Let's just take a moment, guys.
Kelly Lynch.
Just a brief moment of silence.
Cheers to Kelly Lynch.
Cheers.
I mean,
Cheers.
one of the most stunning women
You guys.
that ever walked on planet Earth.
Oh,
Just
all right. I'm good now.
my goodness. I need a minute.
So, we're hitting 2 hours here.
We didn't
You got another one?
We got.
He's done that one before, hasn't he?
I don't think
Have
he
you done a
has.
zombie one?
Have you done the zombie apocalypse question?
I don't know. I don't think so.
I don't
Well,
think so.
Hit him with it.
Tonight's your night.
All right.
You ready?
Yep.
The zombies are coming, Rob. The zombies are coming, Nate.
In honor of Rob.
In honor of Rob.
in honor, yeah.
So you get 3 people from the cigar industry to be part of your zombie apocalypse survival squad. Who do you pick and why?
3 people from the cigar industry as part of the zombie apocalypse. Oh, that's a good question. In the cigar industry.
I think we need to get T-shirts with that on it.
Yeah.
I think for sure I got to go with Eric Espinosa because he'd cut somebody in a heartbeat.
Oh,
No, he just talking about it. Bro. You don't want to do this, bro. You don't want to do this.
He'd tell them a
Bro.
joke and they'd all just pass out because it's hilarious.
Or start singing.
Yeah,
Start
Or
singing, yeah.
start singing.
I gotta go Eric Espinosa. Oh, let's see who. Oh, you got to bring Steve Saka because he's just going to crush some skulls.
Or your sacrificial lamb.
Yes, because we could all run. Either one or the other. Oh, let's see. Third cigar industry. Let's see.
Let's see
Oh.
which way he goes with this.
Oh, this is a good question. I think that number 3, I'm going to have to throw it back to good old Mr. Rob Gagne.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because Rob is fleet of foot. He is wily.
He's wiry.
He's super creative. He's got energy for days. That dude's going to figure out how to keep us alive for
Yeah.
a long time.
Yeah. Well, and he's spent a lot of time outdoors.
Mhm.
He could survive if he had.
He and
to.
I both how to set up a
Yeah.
decent campsite.
Yeah.
We both know how to take care of ourselves outside.
Nice.
I think we'd be just fine.
I was just sitting here and a thought came to my mind. I'd have to get Coop on mine, but he'd be the sacrificial lamb. And guess who would be eating his brain?
Who?
Mr. LaFleur.
Matt LaFleur.
Oh, boy.
Oh yeah, sweet justice.
Mhm.
All right, so that was our lightning round. Let's jump into this week's notable smokable, brought to us by Don Doroteo Cigars. Don Doroteo is a brand with both purpose and passion, dedicated to creating change from within. By developing their own land, they are able to own the entire process throughout the life cycle of the plant. They methodically carry out each step, ensuring that the final product is of the finest quality. The new Salt of the Earth lines, Piedra Viva and Piedra Angular, are available now at Don Doroteo Retail Partners. Please visit dondoroteo.com to learn more. All right. So, notable smokables. Nate, you may remember this. Each week, we name a cigar that we smoked recently
Mhm.
that was notable to us. Now, this could be a cigar that's been on the market for decades that we revisited for the first time in a really long time, or this could be a cigar that's brand new to the market that we smoked for the first time ever.
Okay.
So, what's something you smoked recently that really stood out to you?
Recently, oh, let's think about this. I think one that really stood out recently, considering we're on the Lancero
Oh, yeah.
vein,
Oh, sorry.
the Henry Clay Warhawk,
Oh, I love that cigar.
and I believe I think it's technically a Panatella.
Yeah.
I believe only available at Stogie's
Okay.
in Houston.
Yeah.
That cigar is
Mhm.
outrageous.
Mm.
Outrageous.
Funny you say that,
Yes.
because my notable smokable is an Namakubi from H-Town also.
Really?
Yes.
Oh,
Me and
nice.
Omar just smoked one the other day, and it was pretty phenomenal.
Yeah. Awesome.
They do have some great Lanceros down there.
Dude.
Yeah. I mean, that's if you want like
He's the Lancero King, Jorge.
rare, like hard to find, or only the only place you can get Lanceros of certain blends, that's the place to go.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Justin, what's a notable for you this week?
I'm not going on the Lancero train, even though I did have one recently, but I don't want to start any commotion for the one that I had, but the Liga 10 is what I had.
Nice.
That's not the one I was talking about, but the cookies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The Liga 10 was it the Selección de Mercado?
Oh yeah.
So I finally had one of those with
Nice.
my dad the other day, so that was good. I gave him one, and we enjoyed that together over a steak before for dinner.
That's awesome.
So
Yeah.
Matt, you're up. What do you?
My
Notable.
notable's honestly been one that's been one of my favorites for the last few years, and it had been honestly I think like 6 months since I smoked one. The My Father Fonseca.
Sweet.
In that the Cosecos size, the little one with the white tissue paper
That's the
on it.
number 4.
Yeah.
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 I
Yep.
just love that cigar. I mean, it's like that Corona Gorda size, or really more of a true Corona kind of
Mhm.
size. But I mean, shoot, price point wise, what, $850?
Yeah.
You know, I'm so glad they resurrected that brand, and they've done a phenomenal job with
Yeah.
it. So yeah, that was my notable smokable for the week. So let's jump into coming attractions. And those brought to us by AJ Fernandez. Born and raised in Cuba, AJ Fernandez now produces unparalleled premium cigars in Esteli, Nicaragua. The AJ Fernandez portfolio of cigars provides blend strength and flavor profiles to match the preferences of any premium cigar consumer. Whether it's New World, Dias de Gloria, San Latano, Enclave, or Bellas Artes, you are sure to be satisfied with a premium cigar from AJ Fernandez. All right, guys, coming up on the show next week on the 12th, we have none other than Ian Reith from Dapper Cigar Company.
Mm-hmm.
On February 19th, we have Dean Parsons from Epic Cigars. And closing out the month of February this year, we have Greg Free from Fuerte y Libre Cigars.
This month's on
changed
fire.
They changed their name.
Yes, it's
actually.
now
it's now
Fortaleza
Fort-
y Libre.
Fortaleza y Libre Cigars.
I just had cigars with Greg at TPE
Nice.
on, it would have been Thursday night.
Okay.
And I said, Greg, how's it going? And I introduced him to a couple of people. I'm like, this is Greg Free from Fortaleza Cigars. He goes, dude, you got the new name. I'm like, I pay attention, my friend.
It'll take me a little time to get used
Yeah.
to it.
Make sure to get Greg talking about women's pole vaulting.
Yeah, we've
I-
already
we've
been
already
there.
wa-
Honestly,
we've
been
watched
there
that.
already.
I mean,
watched
we've
that.
all been there.
No,
Yeah.
were you there? That
Yeah.
night? Yeah.
We've all been there.
Yeah. I mean, it's just one of those things.
It's a passion. I mean, how can it not be?
Yeah, I can see it.
We
I can see
we were
it.
actually, he was on a podcast a few weeks ago, and me and Matt joined in.
We did.
Is that right?
and we brought that up.
You guys got a stellar lineup. Ian, he's just one
Yeah,
of the
he's
best human
amazing.
beings.
Yeah.
I love Ian. And Dean he's a stellar human
Yeah,
being
the
as
rest
well.
of
Oh
the
yeah.
month.
Yeah.
The rest of the month is phenomenal.
Yeah. And then March we're going to the
That
PCA
little
trade
place,
show.
Yeah.
The PCA.
The PCA.
We do a pre-show,
Yeah, we're
and then
doing
we do a post-show, and we do something when we're there.
Excellent.
yeah. So
Can't wait to see you guys there.
and we got all this new equipment and stuff, so we're going to be like trying to double up on as much coverage as we can and
We're gonna be on fire.
get as many interviews as possible,
Yeah.
recorded for our YouTube channel.
did they say it?
definitely.
in fuego.
And fuego.
En fuego. Bro.
So,
Bro.
where can we find you, and how can we follow you?
So you can follow me on Instagram at Bovida_Nate. That would be the best place to follow me on social media. You can buy Bovida at bovidainc.com, or you can head over to Amazon and shop at the Bovida store, or even better, head to your local cigar shop or tobacco shop and support your local retailer and buy Bovida from them and
Yes.
buy more cigars.
And buy more cigars. Yeah. Well, Nate, brother, honor having you in the studio.
Dude, you guys are the best. This is awesome.
Thank you, brother.
We really appreciate you showing up, bro.
I've-
I know it was a long drive for you.
It was not even a little bit. Pretty
Well-
much everything in Minneapolis, St. Paul area is like 30 minutes. And this
Yeah,
is
it's-
like barely that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's one of those great winters. We don't have to worry about snow on the
Snow?
road.
Nope. Not even a little bit.
Well, viewers and listeners, guys, thank you so much for being the absolute best part of How About That Cigar Live. We are so grateful to you guys for hanging out with us live on Facebook and YouTube. And of course, if you're watching after the fact or listening after the fact, take just a minute, if you would, please hit those like and subscribe buttons. It really does mean the world to us. And you'll find us on all of those social media platforms, whether it's YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Twitter. You will find us at HBT Cigars. So click all those buttons on those social media platforms.
Do
If
it.
you guys have any questions for us, you can email us right on the website, howaboutthatcigar.com. So thank you guys again for watching. And of course, until we see you guys next time, burn cigars.
Not bridges.
Thanks, guys.
Any comments, opinions, viewpoints, or statements presented or uttered by guests on the HBTC podcast, HBTC live video streams, and all other media from HBT Media LLC are solely those of the individual and do not necessarily represent the opinions or viewpoints of How About That Cigar or its parent company, HBT Media LLC, any of our advertising partners, or the premium cigar industry. The primary purpose of How About That Cigar is to entertain and to encourage activity and growth within the community of people who enjoy or want to learn about the enjoyment of premium cigars.